You're listening to BL in the Air. My name is Chy,
And I'm Alex.
and today we're going to be talking about a show that is technically a bromance, but a lot of people consider a BL, High School Frenemy. We have very different opinions on the show, so I'm pretty excited to talk about it. But first up, Alex, what's in the air with you? What have you been watching lately?
So I've been doing a rewatch.
Oh, what are you rewatching?
I'm rewatching Cutie Pie
Oh, yeah, yeah. How is it the
because
second time around?
yeah. So the first time I watched it was the second Thai BL I watched. So it's been like
Mm-hmm.
2 years, and I went from Love in the Air to Cutie Pie, which is quite the jump.
Yeah.
I'll say they're not equally spicy, but pretty close. Um,
Okay.
but I remembered very little of the plot. Like I knew like the overall plot, but nothing else besides that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's been a fun rewatch. My hot take on it is I kind of hate Z's character a lot.
Okay.
Like I love Z so much.
Uh-huh.
Like Z and Nunu adore them. But like Z's character sucks.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of era of Thai BL has a lot of characters that I just are really unlikable to me.
Yeah, like he means well, right? So there's like a weird power dynamic because like Nunu's character is like very kept. Like he comes from like a ton of money basically.
Mm.
And so he just spoiled rotten and like Z's character is now wealthy, but like didn't grow up that way type of a thing,
Mm-hmm.
but has been always like taken care of Nunu's character like this entire time. And so there's like a weird power dynamic now where like Nunu doesn't really know anything because he's just been spoiled the entire time, and so he's just kind of like vibing and
Mm-hmm.
having a good time. Like he doesn't even know how to like cut onions, basically.
Oh god.
like it's
Kendall Jenner cutting the cucumber like
and then so Z like doesn't tell him anything, and there's like a whole bunch of business things happening that involve Nunu that aren't being told, and there's a lot of drama like that that's really frustrating. And then just like the lack of communication and just the way that Z's character like goes about certain things.
mm.
Like in the like first episode, they like have a spat because they've been like engaged since kids is like the whole thing, right? Like their families
Mm-hmm.
were like, "You two are engaged now, if you're cool with that," and they were like, "Yeah, sure." Um, that's not weird or anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but like with that, it's one of those. It's like okay, at one point, like they go on like dates every Friday is kind of like their thing of like they go on a date, but it's so awkward because there's like no physical affection or anything between them. It's just them there, and
Mm-hmm.
like Nunu is like super perfect to the point where he doesn't really have a personality around Z, right? Like he
Mm-hmm.
out when he's not there, he's like himself, but he's trying to like earn Z's affection basically.
Yeah.
And by doing that, he's thrown away his entire personality.
Yeah.
And instead of like them talking about anything, at one point they get in an argument about it, and Z's just like, "I don't love you yet." And so Nunu's like, "Okay, I want to call off the engagement," and of course all hell breaks loose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I guess that's
so
kind
it
of the problem with arranged marriages, but I kind
yeah
of love the idea of a gay arranged marriage. Like, I don't know if that's ever happened before, but that's kind of iconic.
yeah I can't imagine it has, and it really doesn't make any sense, but I'm here for it too.
Yeah, why
Uh,
not?
Nunu's grandfather in the show is Joke's dad from Jack and Joker.
Oh,
So
okay.
seeing that, I was like, I know you. Except his
Yeah.
hair's dyed in that, so it's like he's obviously like older, but has like dyed like dark brown hair,
Uh-huh.
which is really odd looking.
Well,
So
maybe they're in the same universe.
I hope not.
Yeah, no, Cutie Pie is like I feel like a classic Thai BL that I haven't watched yet. I hear about it all the time and stuff, but it's somehow I just kind of skipped it over. So
Yeah. As much as I'm complaining about Z's character, I do love the show. Like I'm having a good time
yeah,
watching it. I'm
Y-
just frustrated.
yeah, I know. I feel like a lot of people have a soft spot for it. Like I feel like a lot of people with that kind of era of BL are just like yeah, like I love the show. It's very nostalgic for me. Does it hold up completely if it's your first time watching it in like 2025? I don't know, but like it's a good time basically.
I think it still holds up
You
because
think
it's
so?
it's only from like 2022 maybe. I don't remember the exact.
Mhm.
Yeah, 2022.
Okay.
I
I
I,
was thinking
I
it was
think
a
it.
little older.
Because it can't be too much older because Max and Nat are the second couple, and
That's
Nat
true.
is like 20. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
like now he's like 21, something like that. Like he's young.
Mhm.
Um, but Max's character is also annoying, but they're such a side couple because they have their own like spin-off show, right? They have Naughty Babe. Oh,
Yeah. Cutie
but
Pie and Naughty Babe. I love
mhm.
the.
There's also Cutie Pie 2. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, or Cutie Pie 2U, excuse me.
Yeah.
Um, so but yeah, so there's a lot. I don't think I'm gonna rewatch the other ones because I've seen them, but it
Mhm.
was fun to rewatch this in anticipation of the next Prince coming out soon.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for that.
Me too. Is
It,
that in like beginning of May or
I
is that into May?
think I'm not sure actually.
Because
Sometime in May.
Pit Babe season 2 comes out beginning of May,
Oh my
and there's
god.
something else that starts that same weekend. I don't remember what it is.
Starting May, we're going to be clobbered with BL. Like there's
Oh,
so much coming out. Like those I think the X Morning's coming out soon.
mm.
Um what is it? The Nut Super Nuts show just finished wrapping,
Oh,
so like
yeah, out of nowhere,
out of nowhere, no one knew that was even filming. Um
right? So
and
he was
so
filming two shows at the same time because he had to have been filming that while Pit Babe was filming.
yeah. So I
Um,
assume I mean the next couple months that one will probably be coming out. Um
yeah.
yeah, it's going to be crazy like the next 3-4 months.
No, no, okay. So it's May 3rd is the first episode. So whatever so that's Saturday. Yeah, that's a Saturday. So then Pit Babe's on May 2nd.
Oh,
So back
Fridays?
to back. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Like,
It's
I'm jazzed.
yeah. There's a lot of good shows airing right now though. So
Mm-hmm. I know. Too much
it's a
to
good
keep up
time.
with.
So but what's in the air with you?
So, okay, not much, because I've been basically just watching this show that we're going to talk about today. Which
Sorry.
is, it's okay. No, it was just longer than expected because I thought it was going to be 12 episodes and then it was 16. And I was like, oh my God. So I was watching this, and then I've also been watching more RuPaul's Drag Race, of course.
Nice.
I'm on season 13 right now.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, I know. I was watching season 12, and then the finale is when like COVID hit, and it's
Oh.
all like the finale is like virtual, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is really taking me back." Like this is also how far behind I am, but yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, crazy times.
I know. Oh my God, I had to skip all the parts where they were like, and I saw it was really depressing too because it was like a lot of like everyone register to vote in the 2020 election. We got this, guys. And then I just felt really depressed
Yeah.
because I was like, you guys did a great job, but here we are again. So it
Yeah.
was just like a lot where I was like, yeah, this kind of doesn't hold up rewatching. I just
Mhm.
felt very sad watching some of that stuff. But yeah, I loved see listen, I don't have many friends who watch RuPaul's Drag Race, which is crazy. So if you watch it, please talk to me about it because season 12 I loved. I love Jada Essence Hall. She's like one of my favorite drag queens of all time. So now I'm on 13 and we'll see.
There's somebody who was on that keeps popping up on my TikTok. I don't remember who it is, but they just got engaged. I don't remember who it is now
Uh,
because it was like they have like an iconic name, um,
I'm
as I
not
think a lot of the
sure.
people on the show. I don't remember who it is now.
I mean, the most famous are like Trixie and Katya, but I don't think either of
No, it
them
wasn't them.
got engaged. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody. I'm pretty sure they were on RuPaul.
I saw
But
Kristen Stewart got married.
Yes. Very untraditional outfits too. I don't know if you saw them, but they were both in like beige, like very simple
Mm.
dresses.
Oh, I didn't see. I just saw kind of a headline about it, but
Plastique tiara.
oh, she
I
did?
don't
I
know.
didn't know about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Huh.
into March.
Oh my God. Yeah, it- she's like one of the most beautiful queens like
Mm-hmm.
ever. So good for her.
Yeah, they showed up as like not all dressed up in like the drag stuff
Mhm.
on like my TikTok, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, who is this gorgeous person?" I started scrolling their content. I was like, "Oh, okay, no, this
Yep.
makes total sense now."
Oh my God, yeah. No, cuz he's beautiful like so beautiful out of drag and then
Mhm.
in drag it's like yeah,
It's not fair.
it's bi panic for sure.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I definitely I watched her season that was a couple seasons ago. So I did watch that one at least,
Hmm.
but yeah.
Yeah. My knowledge is literally from like random TikToks and then the like news when they got engaged, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah, highly recommend if you like competition television shows. It's the best one out there in my opinion, and it's just so fun and I love the fashion and love the personalities and stuff. So I
Hmm.
get like really invested into it. But yeah. Also it's a good break from like when I watch these shows and it's like, okay, I have to read subtitles, whatever, that's usually not a
Hmm.
big deal for me. But sometimes, like, I just want to, if I'm, like, really tired or whatever, I just want to, like, play my DS while I watch TV, then Drag Race is kind of what I go to. So that's
Hmm.
why this is pretty much the only other show I've been watching. It's just because I've been busy and tired lately, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my go-to when I'm not watching subtitles is YouTubers. So either our gay
true.
dads, Dan and Phil. Um
Yes. True that. All right, well, should we talk about High School Frenemy?
yes.
All right. This should be interesting. I feel like this is the first time we kind of have like different opinions about a show.
Yeah, I think so. Because
Uh-huh.
this is one of my top shows.
Mhm.
I adore this show.
Yeah. For me it was just kind of meh. So, we'll
Fine.
yeah, we'll go through
Fine.
it. So basically this show aired from October 2024 to December 2024. Wait, is that right? How did they air 16 episodes?
I don't know if they were doing 2 episodes a week or something.
They
Because I
must
didn't
have
watch this while it was
been.
airing either.
Yeah, I copy and pasted this from my drama list. So either my drama list is wrong or they aired like multiple episodes a week. I'm not exactly sure, but um and it's a remake of a Korean drama called School 2013, which I have watched, but I watched in like 2014 when I was like
Hmm.
15 years old. So I don't remember like I remember barely nothing about it, but I do remember enjoying it back then.
Yeah. So October to December, that's 8 weeks. So I bet they did 2 episodes a
Did
week.
two a week. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So.
Um it is technically a bromance, which is what School 2013 is, which I thought was interesting cuz to me at least like watching School 2013, I was like, "Oh, this is a very obvious censored romance show." And
Hmm.
so I kind of assumed that if any country was going to remake this as a proper BL show, it would be Thailand. And I'm kind of perplexed why they didn't do that because, to be honest, this show makes way more sense as a romance show than it does as a censored bromance. So I'm kind of confused why they decided to do that, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know either, except to, I guess, stick with the source material, and not change the plot that much in that way.
yeah,
Um,
it's strange because even like watching it as a teenager, I was like, yeah, this is just a censored gay show. Like it to,
Yeah.
instead of like Bromance, I was like, yeah, everyone knows this is just like kind of a censored show, but
Yeah. I mean, I'll say I don't mind that this was a bromance. Like, I think it was funny because it was one of those. We'll get to it, I'm sure, but like, Saint confesses his love to Shin like 10
yeah.
times. Like,
I just feel like
over
I'm
and
like it
over and
doesn't
over.
make yeah, it doesn't make as much sense as a bromance as it is a romance in my opinion, but
My headcanon is that they actually get together after this, like when they're a little older,
yeah,
and
I
not in high
mean
school.
that would make like a lot of sense to be
Yeah, that's just
honest.
kind of where I'm at because of
Yeah.
how close they are and whatever. And like you can be friends with somebody that close regardless of genders or whatever, but like
Mhm.
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
my favorite, I'm never gonna let this go, but my favorite is that Gemini talking about this is the only BL he's finished.
Yeah.
And everyone going, it's not a BL, and he's going, what?
Yeah. It's a strong bromance when a BL actor watches it and doesn't realize it's not a BL.
Right? Because, like, honestly, even without having any kind of kiss or anything like that, like, it
Mhm.
feels solidly like a BL.
It does. And they poke fun at of that constantly throughout the
They
show.
they do, which I actually really love. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's the self-awareness is so entertaining to me.
It
Um,
is. But at that point I'm like,
just make it a
what is
BL.
stopping you? Yeah, I know. I'm like
So that's, I don't know if Sky and Nani didn't want to do BL, if that's what it is.
mhm.
Um, because they have their new show coming later this year, next year, whatever, right? That got announced with GMMTV 2025. It's the one with the like red string theory thing,
Yeah.
and I think that's also a bromance.
I think so too.
So I don't think we
But
ever actually got it confirmed one way or another, but I think the assumption from everybody's been that that's a bromance.
uh-huh.
So I don't know if that's just gonna be their shtick. Because I don't, GMMTV really doesn't do bromances. Like, this is the first one
No.
I can think of.
Well, I feel like
Huh.
a lot of times shows are bromance because they are censored romance shows.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, it makes sense in countries that are homophobic or
Hmm.
being gay is, like, gay media is flat out illegal. To me,
Yeah.
it doesn't make that much sense in a country like Thailand, which thrives on queer media, which is why I'm,
Hmm.
like, a little confused by it because a lot of times, like, countries do it because it's, like, workaround of
Yeah.
homophobia, but that's not as strong in Thailand, so I'm just like, I don't know, maybe it's just like a shtick or something. I can't imagine it's homophobia is the reason they're doing
No,
this, but
I don't think it is either from Sky and Nani.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
yeah, not from them or anything, but
no.
like, the
Yeah.
government or public perception or something. So, yeah,
I
I'm not
yeah.
really sure.
I have no idea.
Maybe they just want to portray deeply intimate male friendship.
Maybe. I mean, like with this one, the only thing I can think is not wanting to upset fans by changing the storyline so much from a bromance and a friendship thing to a romance. Like
I
that's
guess.
with
Like, I don't know who that would upset, but
I have no idea,
yeah.
but if GMM is playing it safe so they don't do that,
Yeah. The
if maybe they
only
don't get the Korean audience mad, I don't know how big of a Korean audience they have.
that's what I
Um,
was going to say is maybe they kind of want to market Sky and Nani to Korea and or China or something, and you can't really do as much BL in those places, so maybe they want
yeah,
to globalize a little bit, and like that's kind of the reason.
yeah. I mean, so like the BL actors, they go over and do like fan meets and stuff in China all the time
Mhm.
anyway. It's
Yeah.
that's a whole different level of complicated because they don't go together. Like
Yeah.
even if they have like back-to-back days of like doing events, it's really funny and you never really see them like travel together or anything like they have to keep them so separate.
Yeah. And
Um,
so I'm like, maybe this is like they really want to have these actors and their shows popular, like overseas, and that's
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We haven't even got to the summary of the show yet. I
There's a lot
assume
to be said.
I know. I assume if you're listening to this, you have either watched High School Frenemy or maybe you haven't watched it and you don't care about spoilers. But
Yeah, because we're gonna spoil everything as usual.
yeah, we're gonna go over the whole show as we normally do. So the summary for the show, my summary, very poor summary, but basically. So, Samwet High School merges both campuses despite a strong rivalry between the student bodies. This includes students Shin and Saint, who once had a close friendship, but after a falling out, they have some tense, unresolved conflict.
Oh no.
Oh no. Whatever will happen. Yeah.
Not kissing. Um
No, yeah. No kissing. Okay, wait, we'll get to this. Sorry. I am pissed. Not only is there no BL, there is no GL. And they hint so strongly at a lesbian relationship and they just like decide to go nowhere with it. They just drop it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like anyway, sorry. I'll
yeah,
get
you
upset
really
about this
feel.
later. Yeah. I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense to me to be like, I have a crush on you. And then nothing happens the rest of the show. I was like, I'm getting so ahead of myself now. But anyway. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with the cast. I only wrote down 3 characters because there's like a fuck ton of characters.
There's
But
so many.
yeah, I would say the 3 that we're going to talk about the most is Shin, who's played by Nani, Saint, who is played by Sky, and they're the main 2 characters. And a support character is Chajen, who's played by Mark. I love Mark so much, and Chajen carries the whole show for me. So,
Speaking of Mark, have you started Sweet Tooth Good Doctor?
yeah, I watched the first episode.
Okay, it's so cute. I'm obsessed.
I know. I need to get further in that. I kind of put it on pause while I was watching this, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely like gonna continue.
Okay. And then side little tangent about Sky and Nani. I love them as just humans. Um
Yeah, I
Nani,
feel like I don't know much about them like as people or actors.
yeah. So Nani's been with GMM for a little while. I don't know when he joined the company, but like he was in 4F, the like Boys Over Flowers, the Thai
Mm,
version.
that's right.
Um so that's where I knew him from, which he has like I feel like he looks different there. I don't know how. I don't know if it's he's lost weight in between or something and his face is narrow. I don't know. Vibes are different overall
Mhm.
because he's kind of like the asshole fuckboy in F4, right?
Okay.
And Sky is new to GMM, and he was talking to Pita, right, who's the CEO of GMM, and
Mhm.
Pita basically let him pick like who he wanted to be
Yeah.
partnered with,
I
and
know
he
Sky is like a known actor outside of
yeah
BL
yeah, so
and
he was
GMM.
known, and I think that's why he got to pick, and so
Uh,
he picked Nani, and just nobody told Nani that.
oh,
And
okay.
so, yeah, so it was one of those like it was just kind of like, hey, you guys are gonna work together on the show type of a thing for Nani, and Nani is like the biggest fucking like cinnamon roll.
Mhm.
He's all bright colors and whatever. It's because it's like with the F4 boys when he's with them because they're all really close still,
Yeah.
that group, and so they still hang out quite a bit. And like everyone else is like in all black or whatever, and Nani's here in like fucking rainbows.
Oh, really? See, yeah, I would never guess that based on his
Right?
character.
No, not at all. But like, cause it's like I think I sent you the photo of like their shoes when he was like with F4 and everybody's in like
Oh,
black like sneakers or whatever, and he has
he
like
like
the
Crocs and
purple Crocs
gibbets.
with yeah with all this stuff on. It's so funny to me.
Yeah.
And apparently Sky's not like that either, but he's become that way because of Nani.
Okay. Love
And
that.
they were at like a fan meet or something, and and Nani was talking about like being worried about doing a good job working with Sky, whatever, and all this, and like worried that like Sky still wants to work with him, something along those lines. I don't remember the exact wording, and that's
Uh-huh.
where Sky finally like fessed up and was like, "I picked you." Nani was just like, "What?"
That's so funny. You didn't even know.
Yeah, it's so cute. Because it's
Aw.
one of those of like, you were who I chose. Like, of course I
Mhm.
want to work with you type thing. Like, it was a really sweet moment, but it was one of those of like, I cannot imagine going through that
Yeah.
on stage and being like, you did what now?
That's so
So,
funny. Aw.
but yeah, they're so cute. And
Yeah.
I adore Sky and Nani.
Yeah.
I can watch them just do anything and just exist, and it's adorable. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I gotta get to know them a little bit better because this is
mhm.
the first show I've seen either of them act in before. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
haven't seen anything else Sky's been in. I keep making it to the same spot in F4, so I know Nani, but I haven't finished F4.
Yeah. I know he's in like the Hormones series, which I've heard of
The
before,
what?
but there's a series called Hormones, and I feel like it's very popular in Thailand because I've been hearing there's several seasons and I've been hearing about it for many years, but I've never watched it. And I think he's one of the main characters in one of the later seasons.
He is in season 3 as the main character.
Yeah. I hear about it all, like or at least back in the day when there wasn't a lot of, or there wasn't as many like GMM
Hmm.
TV dramas, like, or like gay Thai dramas in general. That one was talked about a lot. I don't think it's like a BL specifically, but I think it has like, it's another like
Yeah.
ensemble type show with a lot of different characters
Yeah, I'm looking
type of
at the
thing.
cast, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 main characters.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those, you know, so.
Good God. I don't
Yeah.
know any of these.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know anyone from this besides Sky. Their new show coming up is called Woo, for anyone who wasn't sure.
Mm.
Um, and that's something about the red string theory.
Yeah.
That was one of those they got that so last minute because I don't know that they were planning on Sky Nani being that popular of a ship. Um,
Yeah.
because I think they filmed it like the week of like the GMMTV 2025 announcements, and it was like, what can we throw together in 10 minutes type
I
of a
know, yeah,
deal.
they definitely like didn't have a show plan, but they're like, we need to announce something because people are gonna outrage if Sky and Nani don't have a show together. So
Yeah, I would be one of those people.
yeah,
I wouldn't have been when GMMTV 2025 aired because I had not watched High School Frenemy at that point, but
yeah,
I would be raging now.
yeah. So yeah, it
So,
makes sense. But
hmm.
all right, should we get into episode 1?
Yes.
Okay. So I did the notes for the show, and some of them are a little sassy. I apologize, but I was so confused during the first couple episodes because I was like, why are they fighting? But we start episode 1, and I wrote, a food delivery man saves a guy from a gang trying to beat him up. His name is Saint, and he's working hard to pay for tuition. So this is our introduction to Saint. Your introduction is just like, okay, like he's kind of a badass, you know?
Yep.
And we know that his dad owes some money to some debt collectors. His dad has a drinking problem, and so Saint takes kind of the beating instead for him. So we also kind of learn right away that he very easily and willingly kind of sacrifices himself to protect those that he loves.
He has a heart of gold.
Yeah,
I
except
already adore him.
honestly, I kind of hate Saint. I'll be honest. He's I would say the first I start to like him towards the end of the show, but oh my god, does he annoy me for the first like 8 episodes. Like yeah. Not so much right now. Right now I just kind
Yeah.
of feel bad for him, but like as
Yeah.
it goes on, I'm just like, bro, shut the fuck up, please.
It's so fun. I love how opposite direct reaction we had
Uh-huh.
because I just adore him like so
Yeah.
much. Just immediately was like, "This is my child now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just pat him on the head."
Yeah, we'll see a little bit more of him. Right now he's fine for me though, so I have
Hmm.
nothing bad to say. Um and then we meet our other main character, and the way that we meet him is that we're on some basketball court, and two groups of friends beat the shit out of each other for seemingly no reason other than the fact that they study on different campuses at the same school. And some of them get arrested for this, which is how we meet Shin, who's our other main character, because he goes to jail and then he gets like picked up by his mom. Um, and this is, I mean, we definitely talked about this in our, like, what's in the air for previous episodes, but like,
Yeah.
Alex was laughing at me because I was like so confused why they were fighting. Because I honestly have no concept of high school rivalry because that was not at all a thing where I'm from. But like, I know you have a much better understanding of that.
Yeah, it cracked me up because I could tell pretty quickly with you how you were talking about the show that that just wasn't a thing for you. Where very
Mm-mm.
much, um, like we weren't like two campuses on like the from the same school district. We were different school districts altogether, but we
Mm-hmm.
were across town from each other. And there was definitely like an income difference in one school had a little bit more like gang violence and stuff dealing with it. Like they were the school that had like the metal detectors to get in type of a school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my school that I went to, um, I was more like middle class, but like we had doctors' kids, lawyers' kids, athletes, like professional athletes' kids, stuff like that, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but we also had like the lower income side too, and so there was like a lot of back and forth from that, and then like um. At like our homecoming, my junior year, like one of the kids from like the rival school was there as like a date for like somebody at our school, but he brought a gun with him to the dance
Yeah.
type of thing. Is like a gang initiation thing, but like thankfully it fell out of his pants before he could do anything while he was dancing.
Uh-huh.
So thank God teenagers are dumbasses. Um,
Yeah.
so nothing happened. My best friend at the time was standing right next to him. Apparently, I was not at the dance because I'm not a school event person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so like that, and like the same year is when they tried to come on our campus with screwdrivers to stab people in between class changes. Um, like it was crazy stuff like that.
That's
I'm sure
no,
we
that sounds insane to me. But that's kind of what happens in the show, you know?
right, which is why I didn't think
Yeah.
anything of it. Like I feel like when we get like into like what's really happening like behind the scenes like with like the gang stuff in the show, like it
Yes.
makes a little bit more sense than ours was literally like some of it was like gang initiation stuff, but like some of it was literally
Uh-huh.
just like high school like rivalry stuff. Because we
Yeah.
had like a bunch of vandalism happen at our school too. Like they came on our football field and like spray painted like body outlines. And my favorite
Mm.
was so very 2008, but like they wrote like we love Drew in like on the field, but our quarterback was named Drew, our rival was their quarterback was named Drew, and like the other school that we were kind of a rival with but like a little bit more chill, like more just competitive with, their quarterback was also Drew, so we didn't know which
What true?
school got us. We are like, was did we do it to ourselves? Like it
Huh.
was, what are we doing? They're like, who do we
Interesting.
retaliate with? Like
Yeah.
I think we ended up not doing anything to either school because we were like, what if we picked the wrong school? Nobody claimed it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's really an experience I just cannot relate to. Cuz just
yeah.
for us in high school, like no one gave a fuck about anything. I didn't know the majority. I maybe knew like 25% of the people in my grade. And so I didn't know
Oh,
anyone in the school. I didn't know anyone in the neighboring schools. Like,
I knew
yeah,
pretty
no
much my
one.
entire class.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I was just kind of. I mean, I also was like not in the like in group at all. Like I was like, I was in the marching band. I was gay. And so I didn't really like talk to. I don't know. I, there were like,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot more people in my school who were a little bit more like up the social hierarchy and into sports and whatever, they probably knew a lot more about that kind of thing and about the other schools. But I was like, yeah, I don't. I can't even now thinking about it. I was like, I don't know a single person who went to any other school in my district.
Yeah, I don't. The only people I knew from other schools were ones that transferred into my school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say like the vast majority of the schools, it was kept to just like sports competition stuff. Like even that is like the like screwdriver thing or the gun thing. Like these are very one-off small groups of people involved type of thing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely not as intense as like in High School Frenemy where like if they meet off campus that it
Yeah.
becomes a thing, right? For us, like I could go to that side of town and like it was fine. Um, I don't know if I'd have
Yeah.
been in school clothes if it would have been completely fine, but
Yeah.
like I also like we didn't have uniform. I didn't have outside of like I don't know, football t-shirt or whatever, like I wouldn't have had like, or like our class t-shirt, I wouldn't have had anything that was like, oh, this is the high school I went to. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I think no one gave a fuck. We just had rural Wisconsin solidarity where we were all just like, yeah, bro, it fucking sucks here. Hope we can
yeah.
leave. Like, you know, like, I don't know. I just didn't take
No,
high school that seriously, but maybe
I
some
mean,
people did. Maybe I just am oblivious.
yeah. But it seems like this is like a pretty legit thing in Thailand too, because I think I sent you
Mm.
the TikToks that I found,
Uh-huh.
or maybe it was a Twitter thing where it popped up somewhere where like there's like a mall or something near one of the schools where you can't, like, you have to change out of your school uniform before you go in or you're gonna get jumped basically.
That's
Um,
crazy. I'm like, you guys are 16. You should be like listening to One Direction and you should be like on Wattpad or something. Like, you shouldn't be jumping people. Like,
do, do teenagers still listen to 1D?
no,
Like,
not at all. But I'm just
okay.
like, when I was a teenager, like, that's what we were doing. We were just like sitting in a corner. My friends would listen to 1D, and I would listen to like Pierce the Veil, and we would
Yeah.
write fan fiction. And I'm like, you guys should be doing this. You shouldn't be like stabbing people. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
I
crazy to me. I worked at a bakery. I didn't have time for this shit. I
I
was like, I'm
spent
trying to
my
go to college, man.
Yeah, if I wasn't doing homework, I spent my time either at laser tag or sitting on the floor of the arcade at the mall with all the
Laser
goth kids.
tag. The mall. I was at the mall too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was friends with all the DDR guys. Um,
I was so good at I was a DDR guy.
I still have like DDR for like
Me
my PlayStation
too.
or whatever,
I
but
do
um,
too.
I live on the second floor apartment, so
Yeah.
out of respect to people underneath me, I don't play it anymore.
No,
Um,
that's fair. I also have like the pad for I have my PS2 still.
mhm.
But our arcade bar has like a better DDR setup,
Oh,
so.
nice.
And also I'm like really out of shape now, so I'm really not good at it anymore, but I used to be.
Yeah. So I was never very good at it because I can't even like clap on beat. So anything that requires me to be on beat for something is near
Uh-huh.
impossible.
Yeah.
But like I had the friends that like they played it for like so often that they had like the like extreme mode whatever memorized. So they would stand backwards to the screen and like perfect like the hardest level, and I just stand there going, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, it's exhausting. I really can't.
Yeah.
But
So, but all of us sitting on the floor and not spending money in the arcade, I'm pretty sure is why that arcade died. Um,
yeah. Fair enough, yeah.
So it used to be in the food court. It was my favorite thing. It was in the food court, and because that spot was premium spot, right? It ended up moving towards like the end of the mall. Um,
Mm.
and so when it moved out of the food court, and it was just a big open hole, basically, all the goth kids came with black roses, left it there, and basically had a funeral.
Aw, that sounds so fun.
It was so dramatic. I
Aw.
walked by and I was like, okay, I feel normal today.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
arcade's still open. It just moved locations.
yeah. I feel it. R.I.P. Arcade
Yeah.
location.
hmm it's closed now, so
Aw. R.I.P. arcade.
yeah. I know. It's when we were watching Tamepo and we were talking about it and how Tame and Jun would like go to arcade. I'm like, I miss being able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we basically just have arcade bars now, but
I don't even have that around me, I don't think.
really, that's the only bar
I
I go
have
to is the arcade bars. Because I'm like, why would I go to a bar if I can't play like Guitar Hero? But anyway, we're so off topic. We're like
Whoops.
first minute of episode one.
It's fine. We had a backstory on our different
Yeah.
understanding of school fights.
Yeah, this is gonna set up the rest of the episode so you can't get mad at either of us for either of our opinions.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can't get mad at us. I don't
you
know that I'm
can, I
gonna
don't
care.
care. Yeah, I'm not gonna care either, but anyway. Okay, so we we meet our two main characters. And we also meet the school, which is not doing well because of all the fighting. No one wants to send their kids there. So basically, they decide the way to fix this, or at least the principal decides, that they're going to merge the two campuses together, which is gonna discourage rivalry.
Because
Which
that
is
works.
yeah, which is kind of an insane idea, but she's like really into it, so they kind of have to go with it because she's the authority.
Yeah.
And
Good luck.
yeah, good luck with that. That's a great idea. No problems are gonna come
Yeah.
at all.
Putting the most hated groups in one room, you know?
Yeah, all day, every day. It does. I mean, it kind of works out in the end, but anyway,
A lot of
it's
growing pains.
yeah, a lot of growing pains. We also learned that this rivalry started 16 years ago when one student was bullied to the point of suicide by the other campus. So that's kind of where the rivalry started. And then, even though we're many generations out, the beef has still been maintained.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the origin story of this rivalry. And then basically class 2 is kind of the source of all the problems. It has the worst students. It's made several teachers resign. And there is a new teacher this year. Her name is Jan, and she, of course, is assigned to class 2, which is kind of ridiculous to me. I probably wouldn't put the new teacher with the most difficult classroom, but that's what the principal decides to do.
They hired her specifically as a way to teach the class, didn't they? Like
They
specifically for
did.
that class. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel kind of like they were throwing her into like the meat grinder at that point, like
Yeah.
cuz honestly, I don't think she's that good of a teacher, but we'll get into that too. She's just like not qualified, I feel. Well, she could be a good teacher, but there's some things she does in the show that I'm just like, what the fuck? So, anyway, they throw her into that classroom. So, I guess no point in having a veteran teacher do it. We're just going to throw the new lady to the wolves.
Yeah.
We also meet Chad Jen, who I believe is autistic,
I
or
think so.
yeah, he's kind of portrayed as neurodivergent. I believe he's
Mm-hmm.
autistic. They never explicitly say so, but we meet him. He's kind of a side character, but he's a very big supporting character. And a bunch of students from his rival campus corner him, and later on we'll learn it is Ken and his friends who are twins, but we don't know their names. Honestly, a lot of the students' names we won't learn till like episode 10. So a lot of my
Yeah.
notes are just like this person, and then I had to kind of retroactively go back and fill in that information.
Yeah. The names was hard because I didn't know most of the actors anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't reference names very well in this.
Not at all.
So,
So
but
I did my best, but
yeah. But yeah,
apologies if it's anything's incorrect.
Ken's minions are AJ and JJ the twins, at least.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
and it's not Nate, which doesn't help.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And they're kind of the bullies throughout most of the show, so they are the ones they gang up on Chadjen, and they are trying to take his money because he's autistic and also his family's rich, so they're like, oh, this is an easy victim.
Hmm.
So they're trying to do that, but Saint swoops in and basically saves him, even though Saint is on the same campus as Ken and his gang, and he's on an opposite campus of Chadjen. He still goes in there and helps him. So that's
Because
kind
Saint
of
is a good guy.
Saint's a saint until he's a creepy stalker, but he's not quite that yet. So so far I like him, and Chadjen's my favorite character. So anyone who helps him is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
All right. So it's Miss Jan's first day of class. It's not going super well because none of them will listen to her. And she then brings in their new classmates who are students. There's two campuses, And I at first wrote down the names of the campuses, but they just kind of stopped referencing that after like 5 episodes, so I don't really remember. But she brings in the students of the Udon campus, and there's another campus, but whatever. Um, she brings in the
Whatever campus we're
rivals.
at, yeah.
Yeah, she's on one campus, and then she brings in students from the rival campus.
Hmm.
And we see she's doing kind of like roll call, and we see that Saint, who is currently in the classroom, he hears the name of Shin being called, and Shin is absent, but we see kind of a flashback that they used to be friends, and they used to be super close friends. And of course these were the two main characters we previously met, but now we know that they had a relationship as well. And in present day, like, Saint hears that like Shin is absent, and he wonders, he's like, oh, where, I wonder where Shin is. I've been looking for him for quite a while. It turns out Shin has skipped school for the day to take care of his little sister, who is has some sort of illness. She gets sick sometimes. So but immediately, like, because Saint is always sleeping in class, and he like immediately like head pops up when he hears Shin's name.
Already
So
down bad.
yeah, already. Um, it's the first day of class, and already the boys are fighting for no damn reason. Like, they literally just see each other, and they're like, "Oh, you dog," and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't fucking believe you called me a dog!" Like, what? And I'm like, okay, you guys need to have thicker skin, because like, who cares? But anyway,
Teenage hormones.
I know they're always fighting, and they get so mad when someone calls them a dog, and I'm like, there's got to be worse insults out there. Um, but so they're fighting. Miss Jan does this thing that she always does, where she just jumps into a fight. And does nothing, basically. And this is maybe the first out of 5 times in the show that while trying to break up the fight, she almost gets hit. I believe Ken just goes to like slap her, because Ken loves physically beating up women and mentally disabled people, so he's not a great person. But luckily Saint steps in. Saint has like super strength, and he just like stops this, so he saves. Jan is just kind of like a damsel in distress the whole show, so she's saved. Yeah.
Saint I refer to as a tank
he
often.
is he's a
Um,
he's a tank for sure. He literally, this is when we learn Saint literally has like super strength.
yeah.
So that's good to know. Saint doesn't involve in the physical fighting, which is important, but he does stop it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But now the girls are fighting, and one of them actually does slap Miss Jan. And they are all kind of shocked by this, and so they actually like, she tells them to like sit down and listen, and they actually listen to her. So she maintained some control of the classroom at least. um, yeah, not a
The
good
shock
first
after
day.
they actually hit her, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's crazy to hit your teacher, like,
Yeah.
but that's the vibes we're at right now. We see Shin. I said he also has super strength, but I think he's just experienced at fighting,
Mm.
because we see him outside of school, and he's kind of like 3v1ing a few guys. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they call him Tsunami, because the lore or the rumor is that he overthrew some other gang, so they call him Tsunami. And then he's like, after doing this, he like runs into Saint while walking home, and remember, this is like kind of the first time they've reconnected in years. But Shin is not nearly as happy to see Saint as Saint is to see him.
Stress.
Yeah, he's not a fan at all, in fact.
Yeah. He should be. Saint is great. Realistically, I know why he's not. It's fine. But
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
also not be happy seeing him if I was Shin.
Agreed. It's pretty bad vibes. So,
Yeah.
and then like in class the next day, Shin is there and he tells his classmates, he's like, you guys should be afraid of Saint because all he likes to do is hurt people. So,
That was true at one point.
well, that's true. I mean, from his perspective, he's not wrong.
Yeah. No, can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
So,
So that's kind of the bits and pieces we've collected from episode 1.
lots of fighting.
A lot of
Pretty
fighting.
much.
I will say a lot of my notes on this show, I kind of just skip a lot of the fighting because it's just repetitive and constant. Yeah. But just assume that in between every bullet point, there is fighting happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of my main issue with the show is that it was just a bit repetitive for me. Like they were just constantly fighting. And because I didn't really understand the reason why they were fighting, to me, it just felt kind of pointless and repetitive. But, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan on the fighting thing either. It was whatever. I just, Saint and Shin together, it did something for me.
Yeah. So far, I'm okay with Saint, but.
Yeah, I know it's coming. And
I know. I get a little
I don't blame you for
at some point.
Yeah, I don't blame you for not liking him after that.
Mm-hmm.
I have like been gaslit in Stockholm the same way Shin has, basically.
I see. Love bombed, perhaps.
Yes.
A lot of love bombing. So.
Yes.
So, episode 2. The school approaches an old student they had who is now a well-known tutor, and they say, hey, we are merging the 2 campuses. We need extra help at school. Do you want to be a teacher this year with Miss Jan, and do you want to help teach class 2? And his name is Mr. Sung. Is that how they say it? I feel like they say it like Sung.
I don't know.
Okay. They spell it like Sung, but when I was trying to listen for pronunciation, I think they were saying Sung.
Mm-hmm.
So him and Miss Jan are kind of co-teaching this class, and it's his first day. And he's been around the block. He has dealt with this rivalry as a student. He knows what's happening. He's kind of an ex-gangster turned teacher. So first day he gets there, he's like, if anyone wants to leave the class, you can. And so, of course, like Shin's whole group stand up and like a bunch of others, they just leave. Which I probably would too. If my teacher was like, you can leave if you want, I'd be like, all right, see ya.
I would have stayed. But I also was a nerd.
That's fair. But that's kind of his thing where it's like, if you don't want to learn, then I'm not going to force you. But... yeah. I don't know. I don't really understand how this is a good teaching tactic, but...
yeah, these 2 together and not being on the same page drove me insane a lot.
I know. They have very opposite teaching styles, and I feel like neither of them are very effective.
They're not, and they never really communicated with each other what their plan was any time.
No,
so they were like
never.
Guessing and screwing each other up in the process and arguing a lot, when it's like if you'd have like talked about like what you intend to do, maybe it would have worked instead of fighting against each other.
I agree.
To the same goal.
There had to have been a way where they could have like co-taught instead of like I feel like they're not rivals, but they were kind of had rivaling teaching perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So a bunch of people leave. Saint chases after Shin because he wants to talk to Shin and clear some shit up with him. And he tries to talk to him again, and he gets slapped. And Shin's like, I told you to leave me alone. Leave me alone. And Saint, this is like one of the first times we'll see he literally can't respect boundaries at all. At lunch, he once again approaches Shin, and he like gives him food, and like Shin does have kind of a flashback of when they were younger and when they were friends, and like Saint was like peeling garlic for him and they're being all buddy buddy whatever. Um but like those days are gone, and now Shin is like once again like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to you. Like stop following me around. And so they fight in the lunchroom to see who's on top. I feel like this is the first sexual innuendo of the show.
Yeah.
There will be a lot, but yeah, this one I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Um, and back in class, Saint once again, this is like the love bomb episode. He is trying to give Shin like gifts, but it's like it's not privately, it's in front of everyone. Which is like really awkward because they're all rivals and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like he keeps yelling at you to leave him alone. And then he's like, "I'll be your gopher. I'll do whatever you want." And people are like, "What? What are you doing?"
But it shows that he's literally like, to me at least, that he's like willing to give up any level of pride and self-respect to basically
Uh-huh.
be like Shin's bitch, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
that is kind of like the implication that like it's embarrassing and degrading to be like someone's gopher, which
yeah.
is, I think being their bitch is like a better translation probably, or at least
Yeah.
that is like kind of the implication. But
Hmm.
yeah. Like I get that. At this point I wasn't completely anti-Saint, but I was kind of annoyed that, cuz to me I'm like, okay, no is a full sentence. If he doesn't want you to talk to him, like stop pushing it. Like, you
But then
know,
there's no bromance.
then there's no bromance. That's the problem. But I was just kind of like, okay, like he needs a new tactic or something, which I guess is the gopher thing, even though that doesn't go anywhere. But he just keeps trying the same exact thing over and over again, and they keep having the same conversation over and over again, where Shin's like, "Leave me alone, or I'm gonna hit you." Anyway,
Saint's pretty much just like, go ahead and hit me. That's fine. I deserve it, but also be
yeah,
my friend.
yeah. This is
So,
basically gonna be the next 5 episodes in a row. It's gonna be this. um, but basically because of this, Shin's friends are mad at him, so they drag him to the rooftop, where the one guy committed suicide 16 years prior, and they try to fight him, but he dodges all their punches and then just like jumps off the building. And so I think this is like this is like supposed to mirror that, except he just like grabs onto a ladder and climbs down. So he's fine. He doesn't die. But they think he's going to.
yeah, it scares the shit out of them.
Oh yeah. As it should, but
Yeah. It's definitely one of those moments where you see that the fighting's not like doesn't mean
mhm.
anything in the way it should, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's just fighting because they're supposed to, because they're rivals.
Yeah,
Um,
not because they actually want to like each other to die
yeah.
or be seriously harmed.
Yeah, because otherwise, like their reaction. I mean, I'm sure there's also like a factor of, oh no, we're gonna get in trouble, but I think that's secondary to the, oh shit, did he just die?
Yeah, definitely. Because he like jumps off and they're all like, wait, don't do that. But remember, he's a superhuman, so he just jumps and grabs a ladder and just scuttles his way down. So,
Yep.
we also meet Cable, who is the class president, but he does not want to be president anymore because he's trying to study and shit. He's like studious, and everyone else is just kind of fucking him over. So he steps down. He's also the principal's son. And so they need a new class president. And Shin is, being a little cheeky. He's like, well, I nominate Saint. And then a bunch of his, like, classmates everyone basically seconds this, and he gets elected because Shin's uh campus mates are like, yeah, this will be funny. He'll have to do a bunch of work. And then Saint's campus mates are like, yeah, we want one of our own to be president. So it's like unanimous he's in. And Saint is like, you know what? If Shin wants me to be president, I'll be president.
Action once Saint's gonna go with,
Yeah,
besides being left alone.
exactly. Yeah. And once again, Ken and his twin friends Nate and Not are bullying Chajen, and they're trying to extort him for money. This is pretty serious because Shin shows up, and Shin and Chajen are best friends. And Shin starts to fight them for what they're doing to his friend. And then everyone comes in, and everyone's fighting, and it's a lot of chaos, and it's a lot of fighting. And Chajen gets overstimulated by this, and basically picks up a chair and throws it out the window to get everyone to stop. And the chair lands right in front of the principal as she's giving a tour to like prospective students. So that's pretty serious.
Yeah, that was such a crazy moment.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, it definitely makes sense because I don't know that I've ever gotten so overstimulated to throw anything, but I fully understand being overstimulated.
Yeah, I fully understand. Like, if this is all happening and no one's stopping, and like, I understand the reaction. Yeah. But it's pretty serious because, you know, a student threw a chair out a window, so...
Yeah.
And someone almost got hurt. So basically, Saint tells everyone to skedaddle out of the room, so he's the only one there when the principal comes up. And he's like, as the president of class 2, I will take the blame for this issue. And they're like... Well, the principal's like, isn't Cable the president of class 2? Like, my son? Like, what about him? And they're like, no, he stepped down. And the principal is pissed because she's like, I need my son to be president so he can get into college. So that's the first issue.
Yeah.
The second issue is that they keep asking him, they're like, did you throw the chair? Like, what happened? Whatever. He won't answer. Miss Jan is like talks to him privately, and she's trying to be nice, and she's trying to be like, okay, I don't like what really happened. Like, you know, I'm sure there's more to the story. Just let me know, and you won't get in trouble. And Saint is just like a huge dick to her. He's like, well, if you can't figure it out on your own, then you don't deserve to be our teacher. And it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. She's trying to help you because right now they are going to make you take financial responsibility, and she is putting a lifeline out there, and you're just being a huge dick to her for no goddamn reason. It's her second day on the job. Like, he's like, if you're too stupid to figure out why we're fighting, then you're unworthy. And it's like, bro, she just got here. Like, calm down. I guess high schoolers probably, they take everything very seriously, so there is.
He's also, I'm sure, very stressed in that moment over having to deal with that, and then it's not like he's rolling in money, right?
No. But I'm like, she's trying to help you. She's like she's like trying to help you out of the situation, and you're just like being so mean to the one adult who's like being nice to you in the situation. It's like, okay.
I will say kids like this don't open up to somebody until they've built that trust, and it being day 2 means there's negative trust.
Yeah, that definitely like makes
there's
sense.
A factor there, right? Like, he's still an idiot. Like, he should, like, this isn't as the 34-year-old talking now, not like choosing like as a 16-year-old, you know. I'm like, obviously wrong, but like, I don't know, it makes sense for the moody 16-year-old to be the moody 16-year-old.
No, yeah, I get it. As someone whose frontal cortex has recently fully developed, I feel like looking back at the show, I'm like, I want to criticize all these characters for doing stupid things, but then I also have to be like, I was so stupid back then. Like, I get it, you know? But
Yeah.
it is kind of frustrating as an adult to watch this and try to be logical. And it's like, no, you can't be logical because this is pure hormonal emotion.
Yeah.
So, and basically after that, so tensions are kind of high right now. And they're in gym class, and Saint and Shin, they are partners for this like stick sword fighting. And I tried to Google what it was, and I think it might be Kabi Kabong. I I don't know exactly. I was like, I think this is like a Thai sport, and that's what came up. So I think maybe that's what they were doing. But basically, Shin is like kicking his ass because Saint is just like, I'll never hurt you. I'm not even gonna try, whatever. And so Shin is kind of like kicking his ass at this, and he kind of goes in for, the kill, not
Yeah.
exactly the kill, but to like take him out, and he like pulls his punch at the last second. So,
Very Saint thing to do.
yeah. Yeah, basically Saint, he's white knighting, and Shin just, he's not like fully prepared emotionally to actually hurt this person, no matter how much he says he hates him.
Yeah.
And so in this class, the boys start fighting, and because they're fighting, the girls start fighting. And I am obsessed with this one girl who never joins in on the fighting, but instead she like films it for like views on TikTok. And I fucking love this. Like, honestly, go for it, girl, capitalize. But also, the teacher has the goddamn audacity to turn to her and be like, why are you filming instead of stopping them? And I'm like, as if this one girl is gonna stop like 12 people from fighting. Like, why is it her fault? Like,
Not
bro.
stepping in to stop a fight.
No, he literally is like, he's like, why are you filming them instead of stopping them from fighting? And I'm like, bro,
Content.
who the fuck is gonna do that? Like, get real.
Yeah. Stop it, guys.
Yeah, like they're gonna listen to you, and it's like a bunch of like, some of the guys are like psychos and gangs. Like, I'm not gonna get involved, but I will film it so I can get some AdSense on TikTok. Thank you very much. Anyway, love her. She's probably my favorite character. I don't even know her name. I think they've named her like twice in the show, so I don't know what it is. But once again, Shin and Saint, they're kind of arguing about the same stuff. Been there, done that. And Chadjen, he finds Saint on the rooftop, and he thanks him for like taking the fall for the chair incident. And he's like, but like, you're taking the fall for it. Should I tell them the truth? Like, I feel really guilty because I'm the one that threw the chair. And Saint's like, no, you shouldn't tell the truth because what will happen is that Shin is going to take the fall for you because he's not going to let you get in trouble anyway. So it's basically either I take the fall or Shin takes the fall, and I would rather take the fall, is kind of the conversation.
Yeah. Shin has a very strong soft spot for Chatjen.
Yes. And this is kind of the first time. Well, they had the thing before where Saint saved him from Ken the first time, but this is kind of, Chatjen is very open to befriending people from the other campus and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, this is where they really start like forming a friendship over their kind of like mutual love for Shin.
Yeah. Chatjen does a lot of scheming to help Saint.
Yes.
He just wants everyone to be friends. Honestly, he just, in the end, that's all he wants. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at too, where I'm just like, you guys should just be friends. You shouldn't be fighting like this. So basically they there's a bunch of fighting all over the school, and Shin and Ken, they kind of come to this agreement where they're just like, okay, we're going to settle this during a big fight after school in the gym or wherever. And the deal is that if Shin wins, they have to leave him and Chechen alone. Um, and tensions are very high. And then before the fight can happen, Chechen does go to Miss Jan and tells her that he threw the chair. He explains why. And Jan, obviously, because she's a little bit more logical, she understands she's not going to punish Chechen for this. She wants to punish Ken because he was the one originally extorting Chechen for money. But Chechen is like, oh, don't do that. It's only going to make things worse because, like, the fight tonight. And he kind of, like, lets that slip. And they ask him about the fight. He tells them about it. And so Miss Jan and Mr. Soong, they kind of come up with a plan. Once again, Shin is smoking on the roof, and Sink comes up, and Shin is like, oh my god, stop annoying me. Again.
I could
And yeah. This is the majority of their conversations, but yeah. And it's right before the fight. And so after that, the fight is about to happen. And Saint runs in to stop it. And his classmates are like, what side are you on? Because, you know, he's technically on the opposite side of Shin, but he's trying to do this for Shin, whatever. So they're all confused. And Saint is like, Ken, you guys should beat me up. And they do. They're like, okay, why not? And yeah. And I just like, it just annoys me how he's constantly white knighting for everyone. I like hate it. I hate a perpetual victim. Like I get
So
it. He's like puppy dog vibes, golden retriever, whatever. I just like as a character, I just find it so annoying.
I definitely see where you're coming from, but for me, it's especially knowing kind of like what went down between him and Shin, which we still don't know at this point, but like
Mm-hmm.
I think just the guilt that he
Yeah.
feels just from that, even if it's not directly something with Shin, like it's just whatever he can do to be not that person anymore, basically. And if that means him taking the punishment for everyone ever,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's kind of because it's he's not even like looking for acceptance from anyone because that's one of those like with the classmates asking like what side are you on, he's honestly on nobody's side, to be
No.
perfectly honest.
He's
He
kind of a
doesn't,
lone wolf.
yeah, like okay, he went to school with one side, but like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't help them in any of the fights, and he doesn't
Yeah.
help the other side in any of the fights. He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
um so
Yeah, I get it. I just think it's kind of boring for a character, to be honest. Like, it's not a lot to like sink my teeth into, you know?
yeah, I mean
I
that's what
don't
I'm saying,
know.
like I get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a very different response.
Yeah, no, and I
I
get why people like him, and I get why they ship this. It's just not a dynamic I'm fond of at all.
Yeah, I was obsessed with this of
Yeah.
like be friends again and like the not a slow like almost a slow burn of like fixing things type of a thing, but not like an actual slow burn type thing, right? Like it takes forever for
Mm-hmm.
them to like mend this broken relationship. Um, the fighting does get
Yeah.
old though. Just the
I
fighting in
think
general gets old.
I think just maybe if I was Shin in this situation and someone was constantly sacrificing themselves for me, that's just like a huge turnoff. I would just be like, this is pathetic. Like, I just like,
Yeah,
I'm not into that.
oh no, in reality I would hate this. Like
Okay,
if I
okay.
say leave no, if I say leave me alone and you don't leave
Uh-huh.
me alone,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a problem.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, no, in reality, no, but for the like watching a show like this, I mean, this is like
Uh,
the same thing as me being obsessed with Vegas,
sure.
like in
It's like
reality, I hope I
distanced.
would like not date Vegas.
Uh-huh.
I can't
Okay,
say
I
with a
didn't
straight face
know.
that I wouldn't though, but
Okay, it
for the
makes
plot,
sense.
but yeah.
I didn't know if I was just not into it because, like, if I put myself in the situation, I wouldn't be into it, or if it's just, I think in fiction, just not a trope in general I'm a fan of, but yeah.
Yeah, I think in a
Anyway.
lot of these shows, I don't necessarily put myself in them. I think that's
Uh-huh.
part of why I like BL so much is I don't have to put myself like if it's like a female lead, I immediately put myself in that position, right? And that's where I get
Oh.
annoyed a lot of times. But like in like a BL, I'm like I can watch this without putting myself in it. Sometimes I do anyway just because of the nature of the show, right? And I'm like, what would
Yeah.
I do here, right? Especially if
Mm-hmm.
I fall in love with one of the characters, I'm like, okay, what if I was the other one? How would I make
Yeah.
this happen?
No, it's fair, honestly. It's an
If
interesting topic.
Yeah, it's one of those. If I were to meet Ming from my stand-in, what would I do?
Oh,
No, I'm
that
like,
is a tough question.
I,
Yeah, that's kind of a thing where it's like, because I'm a girl, I'd be like, well, that's horrible misogyny. But if I wasn't a girl, I feel like it might be a different story, you know?
yeah.
I don't know.
So, but yeah, no,
Anyway.
it actually, like having somebody like so, like I'm trying to think of like even just like platonic friends, right? Like having like a falling out with one of them if they like didn't leave me alone after that.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, what the fuck? Like, what do you want
Yeah.
from me?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever had anyone come more than like once to be like try to make amends over something, and I'd be like, no, and then they went okay, and then just left me.
Yeah. Because this is
Um,
very excessive. So.
yeah. I'll say with that, I don't know that I've been in the same classroom as somebody for extended period of time after that, so
Uh-huh.
it's a little easier to like dodge when you're on like a college campus in different majors. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. In the middle of this fight, Ken basically. So Miss Jan, of course, the other thing where she just runs in the middle of the fight for no reason. And Ken goes to beat her up again. Like physically,
hmm.
like about to knuckle sandwich her in the face. And like Saint basically stops him, and he's not like fighting him, but he's like preventing him from fighting like
Hmm.
their teacher.
Yeah,
um, and
I
during
love
all of
Ken.
I bro, Ken is a nut job. He's just like, oh, punch a woman, I'm in. Get ready. Like he's like, oh yeah, let me just punch this girl in the fucking face, or hey, this child is autistic. This is perfect for punching in the face and taking his money. I'm like, no, bro, like you're fucked up. Like I know he has like a fucked up life, but that does not excuse any of this. Like he's to me, I'm just like so annoyed by him because they try to like redeem him, and I'm just like, no, this guy loves beating women.
By the time we get to like his
Oh,
backstory,
that's because
because
they don't name him. They like literally don't tell you his name for so long. So like a lot of my notes are like, I think it's Ken. I don't know. He's doing all of this shit. But yeah,
it's the
he's
one
like
guy with the
constantly,
twins.
yeah, the one guy who's just constantly trying to punch women and
He's
autistic
always
people.
angry.
Yeah. But yeah, they do. I mean, we get more backstory on him later, but I feel like it's too late at that point. Like it's like episode like 16 out of 16 we get his backstory, and it's like, okay, maybe if you did this a little earlier, I could
I
feel a little
cried
bit
for
more
him though.
compassion. Did you?
I did. I'm
Not
telling you,
Ken.
I was serious when I said I love him. I feel
You.
so bad for him.
Oh my god.
This is so funny.
This is like very different experiences.
I loved everyone besides the teachers, to be honest.
See, yeah, I didn't like anyone except Chejin and like Eve, who will meet
Yeah.
in like episode 13. So
She's been around though. We just
she's
don't
been around.
learn. Yeah.
They don't name her or anything.
Yeah.
So
She's one of the girls fighting
yeah,
periodically, isn't she? Yeah.
she is. Yes, yes, she is. Yeah. Well, during this fight, at least, the intercom goes off and it's Mr. Soong. He's like, hey, come see me. So they go see him. And he has video evidence of Ken trying to extort money from Chajen from Ging, who is the girl who records everything. So that's her name. And so basically, he kind of like blackmails Ken. And he's like, if you stop fighting, I'm not going to show this clip to the principal. But if you do fight again, I will show it to her and she's going to expel you. So that's pretty good, I guess. Pretty good blackmail.
Yeah.
As if, I guess maybe Ken cares about school. I don't know. Seems like, I feel like he doesn't. So I don't know if it's really that much leverage, but.
Yeah. I don't think he does either.
Yeah. But in the meantime, it will work.
Yeah.
And Chejin's dad, he comes and he's like, hey, I'm going to pay for the damages. Also, I'm going to transfer my son to London, by the way, in a couple weeks. So
I would love to be transferred to London, not gonna lie.
yeah. I mean, I've never been there, but I'm down. The principal comes in and she's like, hey, if you guys fight from now on, you will be expelled. So it's like a legit thing.
I feel like should have been the rule for a while now.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Why did it take this long?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, but now they're on like a strict system. Where then on the rooftop again, Saint and Shin, they argue again. Shin gives us a little more info. He's like, you ruined my future. Like, you ruined my entire future, whatever. And Saint is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. But please be my friend, please. And it's like, bro, this is pathetic.
Okay, so yeah, Saint is pathetic, like fully, but it's because the show should have been a BL. Because if we say it's because he's just over his head, like in love with Shin, I feel like this makes sense. Total sense.
Then it makes sense. But it doesn't make sense otherwise without the gay context.
It's implied. It's implied. They left it as a bromance for whatever reason.
I know. But that is the logic leap that I need, though, because it doesn't make sense for Saint to be doing this and doesn't make sense for Shin to eventually accept this unless there was like emotional romantic feelings involved. I feel like it just doesn't logically make sense without that element. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what helped me is I just went ahead and jumped to this is a BL, whether or not they want to call it that, because I think at this point we've already had one confession from Saint, to be honest.
Yeah.
It might have been this rooftop scene. I don't remember when the first one happens, because I remember just pausing and being like, how is this not a BL? He literally just said, I love you. Like, and like, you can say I love you to friends, but not in the way he said it.
Yeah.
And then the way he continues to say it every chance he gets.
I know. I feel like if this was like a Chinese show, I would have been like, yeah, it's a like BL. But because it's Thai, I'm like, if they wanted it to be a BL, they just could have done that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that was like what was holding me back or what, but yeah.
Oh.
And then okay, the last part of this episode, which actually helps a lot for me, is that Ken goes to his friend named Jeng, who is the leader of a real gang, and he's like, he tells Ken, he's like, you must defeat the Udon Pitak kids, who is like Shin's campus, in order to join my gang. And I'm like, okay, once we get into like gang violence, I understand the tension now. But before that, I was like, I don't know why they're fighting. But now that I'm like, oh, it's like gang shit. Like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That feels more realistic.
It's not all gang stuff, though. It's literally just like Ken and the twins in the gang side. And then
kinda.
Sort of.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm like,
but everyone else just hates each other.
Yeah, I
But
know. For like no reason, but
yeah.
whatever.
The original stuff from like 16 years ago was also gang related though. We learned like way
Yes.
later, so everything is rooted at the end in the stupid gang, but um
Yeah. But most people don't even know that. So,
yeah.
all right. So the next episode is when we meet Xing Xing for the first time, who is Shin's little sister. She's very young, she's very cute. Saint runs into both of them and she immediately like goes to hug him. She's like, "Oh, I miss you, Saint, so much." And like Shin's like, "Don't talk to him. Like, we need to go home. We're leaving." And she's like, "I'm not leaving until he comes too." So Saint basically just like follows them all the way home and it like gets dark by the time they get home and then he like leaves. So Xing Xing is basically kind of a plot device just to get them together, but she's
She's
cute,
adorable
so
though.
she's
Yeah.
adorable. So it's like kind of okay, you know. But
Yeah.
that is her
And
her role in the show.
yeah, and she's young enough I think to not understand why they're not friends. So,
Yeah, she's like 6 maybe.
yeah, cuz like
So
so and it's been 2, 3 years I think since they had been friends.
that's the thing though.
So,
I feel like whenever I see like children in shows, I'm like they give them way more intelligence than
yeah,
they would
for
normally
sure.
have because I'm like there's no way she would remember. But maybe. I don't know a lot of children, so I could be wrong.
I don't either. And I don't know. A lot of times I feel like the Thai kids look younger than they are. So
Mm.
I have a hard time gauging how old they are.
Mhm. That's just me
So
with all children, honestly.
yeah.
Like kids like families come into cuz I work at like a board game cafe. So they come in and then their parents are like, "What are a good game for kids?" Like my like the age of my kids. And I'm always like, "How old are your kids?" Cuz I'm like, I don't know, they could be 11, they could be 6. I can't tell the difference. Like I'm just going to read the age on the box. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not good with any kid's age either.
I'm not
Especially
either.
I feel like a lot of the teenagers now like
Mhm.
look much older than I did as a
Uh
teenager.
yeah, that's fair.
'Cause I always looked young
Mhm.
anyway. I think it wasn't until like my late 20s where I finally stopped looking like I was a teenager. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody the other day was surprised I was in my 30s. They were like, "I thought you were 29." And I'm like, "God, that's older than I used to get." I was
Yeah.
like, "But I'll take it. It's still the 20s."
Oh my god. Yeah. I know. I have yeah, especially when I have to like ID people at work. I have a hard
Mhm.
time. I did ID someone that was born in 1979.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Damn, girl, you look good." But yeah, I was like a lot of times I'm just like, I don't know, just ID them. But anyway. um back to the gang. Ken owes a lot of money to Jeng, his gang friend, and um he is like, instead of giving me the money you owe me, what will be just as worthwhile is if you can make Shin cry.
That's such a
Which
weird
is
thing.
so weird, so ridiculous. It's kind of something you're just like, you just have to go with, I guess.
Yeah, I will say this is one of the plot points where I was like, I don't get it.
No,
Like, it's
it
one thing
doesn't
to
make
be like,
sense.
yeah, it's like one thing if he was like hurt him somehow, right? You
Yeah, or
know?
like kill
Like
him or something.
something along those lines, but not just make him cry and then I'll
Yeah,
forgive your like crazy debt.
yeah, I know. It's really
It's like,
ridiculous.
oh, okay.
But
I mean,
yeah,
Jeng is a weirdo, so I'm maybe that checks out.
yeah. It's like I don't know. It's doesn't logically make a lot of sense, but we'll go with it, okay?
Yeah.
And this I just thought was funny. In the library, Saint he like makes this origami worm thing, and he like gives it to Shin to try to apologize for him, and Shin is just like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
But I love the worm. I wish someone would make me a worm.
I'll learn how to make you a worm.
Aww. Thank you. That would be so sweet.
I dated a guy who knew a lot of the origami stuff, so he would just walk by every once in a while in school and just hand me like a crane or a frog.
Aw,
Or for Valentine's Day one year, I got like a giant bag of like origami hearts.
that's so cute, actually.
Yeah, I I still have all of them.
Aw, I would too.
Yeah, like I
I
haven't
love
talked to
that
him.
kind of stuff.
I haven't talked to him since I was like 14, but I have all the
Mm-hmm.
origami stuff because it's cute.
Yeah, you might as well. There's no point in getting
hmm
rid of that.
No, one of them was made out of a dollar, so I mean I could spend it if I wanted to, I guess.
Oh, hell yeah. Jackpot.
Um, I had another friend, she could make clothes out of dollar bills. So
Damn,
I just randomly like look and she'd be like folding a t-shirt. What?
that's crazy. Okay, very talented.
hmm
Um, so after that, basically, the Tsunami Gang, which is Shin and his friends, they skip school. And Chajan mentioned something about being scared of Jom's older brother. And Jom's older brother is Jeng, the gangster. And we learn that Jom is dead, but Jeng might want to hurt Shin. Um, or apparently just make him cry, but whatever. So they're at like karaoke, but then Ken's gang shows up and they push Chadjen, so now everyone's fighting because you don't do that.
hmm
And because everyone skipped class, Miss Jan is just like walking up and down the streets trying to find people for some reason. And Saint runs into her. He's like working his delivery job, and together they see Shin like running. So they go follow him, but he's just like late to pick, or they follow him and he's supposed to pick up his sister, but he's running late, so he gets there. And also Ken sees Shin doing this and he's like, oh, Shin has a younger sister, this is his weakness. So he
Uh,
goes, and I know this is fucked up, he once again Ken, he's literally trying to hurt little tiny children. But anyway, he's like, we got it. We got his weakness. It's his little sister. So he calls Jang, and he's like, yeah, Shin has a 6-year-old sister who we can kidnap because he's just that kind of guy. And he's like, oh, either I can pay back my debt or make Shin cry in some other way, or I could kidnap his sister. So he went the kidnapping route, which would make him cry, but
yeah, I was gonna say it could make him cry.
yeah. But it's not like, okay, he's gonna cry, they're gonna let the sister go, you know?
Of course not. That's never how any of this works.
Uh-uh.
I
So,
don't think Ken
yeah,
is thinking that far.
probably
I think it's
not.
yeah.
He's just kind of desperate, but it's like, okay, we should probably not get 6-year-olds involved in
You would
this.
think.
You would think, but apparently not. And so Jeng takes a picture of Xing Xing, sends it to Shin, and calls him, and he's like, hey, I'm here to pick up your sister. This is like the next day or something. And Shin is like, oh shit, he's gonna kidnap my sister. And so he runs, but on the way he is surrounded by the gang, and the gang is called Dragon Fang. And he gets basically kidnapped by Dragon Fang. And Jang wants to beat him to death as
Of course he does.
atonement for his brother, which we'll find out why. Um, and the gang tries to kidnap Xing Xing, but Saint rolls up and saves her and her mom. They're like together, and they both almost get kidnapped, and he saves them. And oh my god, the plot gets a little convoluted here, but it's okay. Apparently, Jang. So Jang keeps calling Shin Tsunami, and everyone calls Shin Tsunami because they think Shin is Tsunami. But actually Saint is Tsunami. Which
Yup.
they make this seem so important, but after this episode, they will never mention it again.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be a big thing, but it's not.
I mean, it's really there to explain like why Saint is like his lore, right? Like his I'm
Yeah.
a fighter and I was like this big strong fighter to the point that that's why they called me Tsunami and that's why I'm such a good fighter even though I don't fight anymore type of thing. So when he does fight,
Yeah.
it all goes back to that. So even if nobody calls him Tsunami because it's kind of a useless name,
Mhm.
um, he doesn't go by that anymore anyway. So
Yeah.
because that was when he was in a gang, right? So
Mhm. Yeah, cuz he basically like cuz he shows up the place and he's like it's been 3 years since I've hurt anyone, but now that's over. And so he like beats everyone up cuz he's Tsunami. Which
yep.
I feel like okay, my other problem with the show is I feel like they start things and they never finish them. Like they'll bring up like the tsunami plot line and then that will never come back. And then they'll bring up like the girl romance plot line that'll never come back, or there's another girl who's kind of a victim of like revenge porn later on that never comes back. Like I feel like a lot of this stuff is intriguing, but they just like let a lot fizzle out, which was kind of disappointing to me because it was like a lot of the stuff I was interested in.
I agree with most of that, but I feel like the tsunami thing served its purpose.
You think? Because before then, I didn't even pick up on the tsunami thing. I was like,
Oh,
oh, they call Shin's friends Tsunami Gang, but I didn't pick up on
well, it was
that
like,
they were like fearing him for being the tsunami or something.
yeah, so Tsunami had like a huge reputation of basically being indestructible, right? Like a tank, like we've said.
Yeah.
And he's like a really strong tank. He comes in, you're screwed basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for whatever, I don't remember why, but Shin ends up with that nickname after Shin and Saint have their falling out. Um, but really it was Saint who had that because up until that point, right? Saint has like this whole like story arc where you kind of even if it's not mentioned, it like ties back into the story arc of him with like the whole gang thing where like he and Shin were in that one school gang for a while or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you
Yeah.
have all of that, right? And so the the tsunami name only stayed relevant because people thought it was Shin. But
Yeah.
like Saint's been there this entire time, and so everyone just knows Saint as Saint now. So like to start calling him Tsunami would be
Mm-hmm.
weird
I
because
feel
he's
like,
also not that persona anymore, even if he
yeah.
can still fight, right?
I feel like at this point of the show, I got that, but never once before then did I pick up on the tsunami thing. But that might just be me, because I was overwhelmed by all the characters and confused about who everyone was.
Yeah, so I don't
But
think you're supposed to pick up that like Shin wasn't Tsunami until it was
yeah,
like
I
it said.
I didn't even
Um,
pick up that there like was a tsunami though.
oh,
I was just like, oh, that's the nickname for their friend group. But
oh, okay. No,
yeah,
I definitely realized they were calling Shin Tsunami and he was just kind of
yeah,
rolling with it.
no, that was
Um,
totally me. But at this point, I
so,
was like, okay, I
so,
guess.
but yeah, it doesn't really come up, but I think that's because like the purpose of that name specifically was
Hmm.
just to make a point of Saint's background.
Yeah,
Um, but it doesn't serve a purpose to keep calling him that.
yeah.
So,
Well, because yeah, after that, Jang pulls a knife on Saint, and Saint fights a bunch, and he holds his own. But then the cops come, and they all go to like the police station. And I guess the good news is that the gang guys confessed to everything. So that was
nice.
easy. They didn't even have to go in for questioning.
Yeah.
The teachers show up. They're very concerned that they're involved with gangs, and Shin does not go to the hospital. He that's people in this show are indestructible. Like they're getting like 20 punches to the face and they're like not going to the hospital, and I'm like, bro, you'd be dead at like 7. But he should go to the hospital, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And so his mom shows up and immediately just like slaps Saint. And she's like, do not let saint near my son.
Very valid reaction.
So yeah,
Totally
no,
valid.
I'm on mom's side, to be honest. This
Yeah, I get it.
whole
My
show.
mom would have the same reaction.
Yeah. Maybe not like maybe don't slap a child, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
so
had to think about it.
yeah. Overprotective, sure, but don't physically assault a minor.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so Ken tells the class that Saint is Tsunami. Shin was pretending to be Tsunami. Do you, did
Gasp.
you did you watch White Lotus at all? The new
No.
season? Okay, there's like a joke because there's one character from North Carolina and the way she says tsunami, everyone thinks is funny. And
Oh.
I didn't know because you lived in North Carolina, right?
Hmm.
How what is your best North Carolina tsunami impression?
Oh God, I don't do accents. We covered this
Oh,
like an
that's
episode or two
true. That's
ago.
true. I didn't know if you
And
could do
then,
it well because everyone is
oh
doing it right now. So,
no, and then it depends on where from North Carolina, because like
mm,
mountain North Carolina, like Appalachian accent or
yeah.
Appalachian, however you say it, because if I say it one way, I will get yelled at by people from
Uh
there.
huh.
Um,
Yeah.
That accent is so hard for me. Like I grew up like with South Louisiana accent, like Cajun Creole accents,
Mhm.
where when like Swamp People was on TV, they had subtitles for them. I don't need those subtitles, you know. I
Uh
like that's
huh.
fine with me. When I moved to North Carolina originally, I was in the mountains, so I was in like north of Asheville in the mountains in a population where I went into McDonald's and the guy looked at me and goes, "You're not from here." Um, and my coworker that was like from there, I needed real-time subtitles. I had no idea what that man said to me for the first like 3 months I worked there. Like he
uh.
would talk to me and then he would like leave the room and I'd have to look at the guy who sat next to me who's not from the area either, who's like Ohio or something like that. And I'd
Mhm.
be like, "Okay, so what did he say?" Like, was there anything in that I needed to do? Because I would just nod and go, "Yeah, that's cool." Or whatever, you know,
Mhm.
just kind of like roll with it because I had no idea what that man said to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, where was I?
Ken telling the class,
Oh yeah.
tsunami.
And so Chajan asked Saint to protect Shin from the Dragon Fang gang, because he's leaving. And
Mhm.
he said that last year, so the reason this is happening is that Shin was blamed for Jom's death. Remember, who's Jang's brother?
Yep.
Because Jom was constantly harassing Chechen and his friends, and so Shin was always defending them. And then he started his own gang called Tsunami, and they dominated the campus. And Jom basically wanted to leave the gang lifestyle after that. So he tried, but his brother was like, no, you can't leave. And so Jom was really upset. And that night he got into a traffic accident and died. And so for some reason, Jang blames the death on Shin, which is like such a reach, but I guess I can excuse it for like mourning, you know? Even though it makes like literally no sense. He just like doesn't want to
Yeah.
accept that it's like if anyone's fault, his fault, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
this
don't
is
remember the
why
specifics of this, but
yeah, that's why he's like hell bent on making Shin cry or whatever.
so dumb.
Yeah. Um so yeah, the teachers basically they under the guise of assembling the students with the worst grades, they kind of get together all of the students involved with gang stuff and they're like, "Hey, you guys have to stay after class to do extra things." It's basically just a ruse to like keep them off the streets longer. Which
Hey,
I guess
whatever it
is
takes, I guess.
yeah, whatever it takes. Um and so during one of these lessons, Miss Jan brings him to play basketball in literally the darkest gym of all time. Like I love that every time they're in the gym, no one thinks to turn on the lights. Like it's like black in there.
Mood lighting.
It's mood
To
lighting.
see why you're playing sports.
I know. It's so funny to me though. Like no one turns on the lights there. Um And Shin is kind of limping because of an old injury, foreshadowing, that he says that Saint caused. And Ken sees this and he like aims for Shin's shin. Huh. Oh my god, crazy coincidence. Just kidding, it was planned that way. Um and this is what Saint almost punches Ken over this, which is kind of crazy because Saint's been pretty restrained from violence so far.
Things off the table though when it comes to Shin. Gloves are
Yeah,
off.
gloves are off, cleats are off,
Or on.
or on,
Yeah.
because Saint still has a pair of cleats that he bought for Shin way back in the day that he never gave to him for mysterious reasons. So that's a little bit more foreshadowing. And Mr. Soong, he visits Jang because they know each other from high school. And he tells Jang, he's like, hey, you need to stop hurting Shin, my student. And Jang is like, nah, I'm not going to listen to you because you killed a man 16 years ago and you caused this feud. Gasp.
Shock.
So much shock. Plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
So, episode 6. This starts with Saint in a quote. He says, I'm crazy because I love you. Which,
These
like,
confessions.
again, if a man said this to me, I would get a restraining order. But
This is why I need somebody to like vet anyone I date because
yeah.
I would fall for this shit.
Oh my god, I hate this shit. That's good. We're like a good balance, I feel.
Right? I'm gonna every time if I start dating someone, I'm gonna be like, okay, here's a screenshot of what he said. Is this normal or am I just
Yeah.
been reading too many romance novels?
Yeah, right. Cause yeah, this is something where like in a show it would work, but in real life it's bad. But also, but it's not a BL, so it doesn't make sense.
It's such a strong confession as just a platonic one.
Yeah, like, I love you so much as a friend that you drive me crazy. Like, what? Like, what? But that's what Saint says to Shin, and he's still harassing him to be friends again. Like the same argument for the last 3 episodes. We're still going with that.
That's all he wants is friendship.
That's all he wants. And he doesn't care, actually, what Shin thinks. And he doesn't care what Shin feels at all. And he doesn't actually care about Shin. He only cares about himself, is my interpretation of this, honestly. Because...
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, I know. Shin even brings this up at some point. He's like, yeah, you're selfish because you don't care what I feel. You only care about getting what you want. And I'm like, oh my god, we're self-aware. But... yeah.
It's not wrong, but it's also, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he fucked up a friendship, well, like he fucked up in like a major way, right? Like full stop. He fucked up in a major way. The respectful thing is to accept that you guys are never going to recover from that.
Yeah.
But also, if you're as close as they were, even when it was like just platonic, whatever, 3+ years ago, throwing that away. I mean, he went about it wrong to begin with because I feel like if he'd have tried to fix things shortly after, it would have gone over better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know.
It's just, this is kind of the point. No, this is the point in the show where I was getting pissed off. Which is so funny. It's like the opposite reaction, but...
I think I just accepted that this was a BL without being a BL.
Even
and so I just rolled with it.
I'm like, I need to save Shin. Shin is in a toxic relationship, whether it's romantic or not.
I needed him to accept Saint.
I needed him to kill Saint.
No!
Yeah.
No! No.
Maybe not yet, but later on, that is what I was thinking.
That doesn't solve anything either.
No, it doesn't. But it would also be more cathartic.
Like, even if they didn't become friends in the end, like, that Shin would never.
No, he would never. But I was getting, like, so pissed off, so...
Like, even when he would, like, hit or slap whatever Saint. He was holding back. Like he was never
Uh-huh.
like full in.
Yeah. I don't know. I just hate this. Also, we kind of get Mr. Soong's backstory, where basically Louis was from the other campus when he was in high school, and he was extorting money from his friends, like Mr. Soong's friends. And something happened, and eventually they forced him to work off his debts as a gopher. And then eventually Louis was the one who committed suicide, which kind of caused this whole feud. So technically, this all traces back to Mr. Soong.
Yep.
So crazy that he's their teacher, but
Right? I'm like, that's a choice. Um,
yeah,
I
I don't know if I'd hire this man, but okay.
mean, I guess he understands the fighting and like the
Yeah,
rivalry. So,
I
I mean,
guess it's pretty
if he's
serious
turned a new
though.
leaf, which yeah. So,
Yeah.
I just I can't imagine one of my teachers being like that much of a bully and like their past and then like
Mhm.
in a way that is like core to like the school.
I know. Yeah.
Um,
I agree. It's kind of a
I mean,
lot, but
I did have a teacher that was a bully.
oh yeah,
So,
honestly me too.
like
It's like
my
you
mom
guys are
went
not
to
getting paid enough for this, but
yeah. My mom went to the school over it and he wasn't allowed to acknowledge me for the rest of my high school career. So, that was fun.
that's
Um,
nice. Oh my god, it was
I
always our guidance counselors
I
that were
bullied my
like,
guidance counselor.
oh my god, our guidance counselors were awful. I think one of them was like a Holocaust denier.
Oh
And then I
God.
had another one who was like big. He was like super Christian, so he was really into like conversion therapy.
Oh
So
no.
any like student, like middle school student who was like, I might be gay, he'd be like, you should go to conversion therapy, which is,
Yikes.
yeah, I had bad guidance counselors. I never went to them because
Oh.
they were not
Yeah.
qualified to be giving any sort of advice. But,
I only went to mine because I had to get their approval to like take classes I wanted to take.
mm,
And in mine, his wife was like the college basketball coach or something like that, and so he was like, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, my whole family works at the university, what of it? Um, and then like I doubled up on sciences one year, so I took Chem 2 and AP Chem in the same school year, and the year before that I did pre-cal or algebra 2 and pre-cal trig in the same school year.
mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to let me, and I was like, go look at my scores. And he was like, yeah, my daughter had whatever. And I like blew his daughter's scores out of the water, and he just kind of looked at it and was like, what? I was like, yeah, let me do this.
Uh-huh.
So I would have to tell him what to do. That happened
Yeah.
quite a bit. Where I was like, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to approve it and let me take these classes so that I can get out of here and go to college.
Yeah. Teachers.
Yeah. I never went to any of them for like real problems.
No, me neither.
No. I wouldn't have trusted them.
God, no.
That's what the internet was for.
Yeah,
I
true.
about the time is when I would go to Tumblr with questions.
Same. Me now, honestly.
Yeah, I found myself instead of like Googling or going to TikTok, I do go to Tumblr more again,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm
It's the
like,
best.
I want an answer to this, and then I get, a long form essay. It's great.
Yeah, no, people,
With sources.
I know, with links and everything. I love it.
Mm,
It's
I do too.
can't compare. But yeah, that's Mr. Soong's thing. He's kind of
He sucks.
sus. Yeah, he honestly. And as the classmates all gossip, they heard that Shin caused the Dragon Fang's member death. Chajen then like kind of runs to clear up this rumor, but the teachers hear the rumor too. Like they don't know any context, but they're just like, "Oh yeah, Shin killed a gang member," basically.
It's
And
so
so
dumb.
Shin's reputation is tanking.
Of course it is.
And yeah, and Ken is waiting outside the school to jump Shin, but Saint sees this and kind of warns Shin. He's kind of having his back. And the cops surround the Dragon Fang gang. like their like warehouse or whatever, and they suspect that Mr. Sung snitched, and they're right, he did. um and basically Shin's reputation is getting worse because he pushes Cable in an argument, and a teacher sees, and the teacher calls him a delinquent. And basically, like, Shin and Saint, they have the same discussion as always about be my friend, and no, I don't want to be your friend. And Chajen does misunderstand the relationship with it, which is funny. He's like, he thinks like they're fully dating. So,
I mean,
he's us.
yeah. Shut up, Mark.
Yeah. And he like he tries to like wingman a little bit, which is funny, and he like kind of gives his approval, so you know, he gets
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jang basically asks Ken to take care of Shin now because he's like repoed Ken's motorcycle. So he's like, okay, you have to take care of Shin. I'll give you your motorcycle back. So more of an incentive to go beyond making him cry.
Yeah. Come on, Ken. Get it together.
Know. And now the parents have heard the rumor about Shin killing a gang member, and they want Shin expelled, or they're going to withdraw their financial support, which is a big deal because the school's already struggling financially. But the school can't just expel Shin for nothing. They need evidence that he's been bullying people. So they survey the students and they ask if they've been bullied by Shin. And people either put down his name because they're from the rival campus, so they want to make him look bad, or because they're like scared of him. They're like, if Shin leaves the school, then he maybe won't kill me. So a lot of people put his name down.
Yeah.
Even
Messy.
though, yeah. And like, again, Ken and his friends, they like egg Shin on, and tensions are very high, and Saint's there, and Shin's like, how about you? Why don't you punch them for me? If like you're so willing to do anything for me, you hit them for me. But Saint's like, no, I'm not gonna hit them, but I'll let them beat me up. So he does that. And it's like, okay.
Saints beat up for like the 5th time.
Yeah.
This might actually only be like the 2nd or 3rd time, but
yeah, including flashbacks, it's probably like the 4th. So the teachers basically, they're like, okay, this anonymous survey isn't enough to get him expelled. We're going to interview students in class 2 to get evidence to get him expelled. And so they're grilling different students, and then they grill Shin and Saint about their relationship. They're like, hey guys, what's going on there? You guys have kind of a tense relationship. Like, Saint, are you being bullied by him or whatever? And Saint is like, no, he's my best friend. And they ask Shin about this, and Shin is like pissed because obviously he kind of hates Saint. And so afterwards, like outside in the hallway, Saint goes up to Shin, and this time Shin loses it and actually punches him at school, which is like the first time he's actually tried to hurt Saint. And like, I get it. Like, I feel so bad for Shin because I feel like Saint acts like the victim all the time, but Shin is actually the victim. And I get it. It's just kind of the breaking point for Shin where everyone is blaming him for this thing that he's not really guilty of, and Saint won't stop hounding him. He has no room to breathe. He breaks. I get it. I totally support Shin in this moment.
it's a lot all at once, especially for a teenager.
It is. And it's just like, once again, like, it bothers me how Saint's always trying to act like the victim in this situation when it's like, no, bro, like, Shin's the victim here. Like, maybe, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, maybe if you actually cared about him, you would maybe give him some space. But,
He gave him 3 years of space.
well, only because he couldn't find him.
He ran away first.
Yeah, it's true. But that's like, okay, because what happens after that is, okay, well, again, fucking Miss Jan runs in there to try to break it up. She gets hit. All the teachers see. Of course, all the teachers think that Shin is some delinquent now for sure.
Yeah.
And Miss Jan kind of reads them for secretly caring about each other. So for some reason, who gives a fuck about the survey? Doesn't matter. She gives them a 2-week suspension instead of expelling Shin. And she tells them, she's like, you guys need to get some space from each other during this suspension. And of course, Saint immediately ignores it, stalks Shin anyway, goes to his house, follows him around. Like, bro, like, you pushed him to his breaking point last week, and you can't take a day off from stalking him. Like, I would get a restraining order at this point. It's absurd.
Somebody, because I can't argue against you. Your logic's not wrong. I just feel the complete opposite. Where I'm like, no, keep going, Saint.
This is what's like so funny about shows in general. It's just like similar interpretations, but completely different like emotional reactions, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's like where we both see where each other is coming from, but we're both like, yeah, my brain does not compute it in that way.
Yeah, no, because I'm definitely like, yeah, Saint, if you give him an inch of space, he's gonna shut down again, and whatever, like, you've chiseled away from his wall is gonna build back up. He's gonna, spackle it in.
Yeah. And I think I'm just at this point where, like, for me or whoever, I'm just kind of like, no, dude, like, I would need some, like, space. But
yeah, it just if you give him space, you're never gonna get anywhere. Like, because it's realistically the friendship should be dead, right? Like, it should never be revived.
No, that's kind of the main thing. Is like, I just want Saint to leave Shin alone. Like, I feel bad for Shin. I'm like, he deserves better friends.
The besties need to be friends again, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost there at least. They're almost friends again, which is crazy. Yeah. But
honestly, it is. Once I found out exactly what Saint did, I was like,
Yeah. Which is basically the next thing that happens is that they return to school. Saint hears that, I guess Shin is going to be expelled after all that. So Saint tells the class in poetry form, which is the corniest shit ever. Like, oh my god. But apparently he tells their history, which is that he used to be a gang leader. Shin was a soccer player that Saint was friends with, so he invited to be the right-hand man of his gang. In order to join the national team, because Shin was really successful at soccer, he needed to leave the gang. This, first of all, middle school gang. They're in 7th grade. Anyway. So, because Shin wants to leave this fucking junior high gang, they beat him for it so bad that Saint breaks Shin's leg and permanently incapacitates him to the point where he can no longer play soccer. His soccer career is finished. And my reaction to this is, what the fuck? Maybe Shin should kill Saint. To be honest, if he killed Saint, I would be like, yeah, dog, valid reaction. I was so betrayed by this. I was like, after this, I was like, I cannot root for them.
Jaw was on the floor when I found out exactly what he did and like how fucked up it was, because it was like, okay,
like, that's not a true friend.
No, like
I'm sorry, but if I cared about someone genuinely, I never could break their leg and ruin their entire career. Like, if you actually cared and loved about someone, there's no way you're gonna do that.
I will say there's an asterisk there of breaking the leg was an accident. Beating the shit out of him was
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah.
the breaking the leg part was an accident. As soon as that happened, they quit.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is just
So
like,
so so there's an asterisk there. Like it's still fucked up, right? Like even beating
yeah.
him up is insane. But like it wasn't like he sought out to like destroy his soccer
No, it
career.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like that.
So it
But
wasn't that
it's.
malicious. It was still malicious,
Uh
but
huh.
yeah, there's a tiny asterisk there.
But later they ask him, they're like, "Why did you do it?" And he's just like, "I just, I just had to." And it's like, okay, bro, you're a psycho,
Yeah,
actually.
I think part of it was like betrayal's not the right word. I wouldn't say betrayal, but like losing his friend as his right hand man, and then like the protocol for the gang, regardless of who it was to beat the shit out of whoever wants to
Okay,
leave. Like that's like
but
your exit initiate,
it
like which is fucked
it
up, right?
was
Like I'm not.
Saint's gang. He made that rule.
Did
Like,
he? I don't remember that, but
yeah, no, I would get it more if there was like a big, if like Jeng was the gang leader and like he was like, okay, I have to do this. But no, he was the leader of the gang. He chose.
yeah,
He made that rule. He chose to do this. Like no one was
but that
forcing
was
him to do that. Like
but that was the rule before it was Shin trying to leave, though, right?
it was the
It
rule
wasn't.
before that, but Saint was still the gang leader.
Yeah, but he
So,
he would have lost his place as leader. He would have lost respect if he did anything else, and he was also mad at Shin.
but he's
So
12.
yeah. Have I ever told you about when I was in seventh grade and there was a
Oh
rumor that went
no.
around that
What?
I was I was gonna kill my next door neighbor who's like a brother to me, and then that rumor went around the whole school and people hated my brother, and so I had people coming up to me going, "When are you gonna do it? Please hurry up."
What? Oh
In
my
seventh
god.
grade.
That's crazy. I guess the craziest rumors do happen in seventh grade.
Yeah, that rumor got back to my mom. My mom flipped out. My mom was like, "Do what now?" And I was like,
I'm not gonna kill
my
him.
my right? Like I was like, I'm not, of course I'm not going to do that." But my
Uh,
mom was worried I was going to get expelled because just from the rumor alone, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, obviously I'm not going to do anything to him. I was
mm-hmm.
because what had happened was he said something to somebody else, and my actual enemy was in between because our friend groups were a circle basically, on a Venn
Mm-hmm.
diagram, and so my enemy was over there, and he comes over to me and goes, "Hey, so and so said what this," and I went, "I'm gonna kill him," as an expression, right? Like a normal
Ah.
expression, and
Uh-huh.
he knew it was an expression, right?
Mm,
Like, but he's an asshole, so
yeah.
he went and made it fact, and everybody hated my brother because he was awkward loser nerd dude, right?
Mm.
Um, right? If we didn't grow up like siblings, I wouldn't have been friends with him either, but I also still wouldn't have actually killed him. So like,
Yeah, obviously.
but yeah, that was
That's
seventh
crazy.
grade for me.
This is making me realize that I've never had an arch enemy, and maybe that's what I'm missing in life.
Oh,
I
my
need an
arch enemy story
enemy.
is my favorite thing. I want to make it into like a novel because honestly, it should be enemies to lovers is how it should have gone. It was set
Aw.
up perfect for that. I would never want to date him.
Oh,
Straight up.
wow,
But
are you
like,
sure?
yes, no,
You
absolutely.
seem to be into that.
Anybody but him.
Okay, okay. I see.
So we stayed enemies to enemies until the very end.
Yeah.
Um, but the story overall, like he dated my best friend, and I tried to date his best friend, and then we had a situationship, like me and the best friend,
Mm,
and like it was a whole thing, and like there was a lot of like our friends, like our friend group was literally in a Venn diagram was almost a complete circle, like
mm-hmm.
the fact that we
Okay.
were enemies, which I think we were mostly enemies because we were so similar,
Mm-hmm.
like we had the like exact same interests, and we were like both like at about the same like smart level, I guess, of like in our class and stuff like that. So we were just unnecessarily competitive.
Yeah. That does sound like perfect enemies to
Right?
lovers.
In
But
sixth grade at recess, we were fighting, like physically, like hand in hand, like locked in, like pushing each other. And
mm-hmm.
I tripped over a tree stump behind me because I stepped back and I fell, and he fell on top of me. Like, had it been a rom com, we would have kissed type
That's
of a
so
thing, to the
funny.
point the teachers were getting ready to like step in because we were literally fighting. The only time I've
Uh-huh.
ever had like a physical altercation of any kind. And they
Mm-hmm.
saw us do that and like roll off of each other and like walk away and not talk of it. And they just left us alone.
Too embarrassed to fight anymore.
So, yeah. So, like, that was the type of stuff that would happen between us, right? And so
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, looking back, I'm like, literally, if this was like a YA book,
Mm-hmm.
would have been enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's
Dang.
not.
Yeah, maybe if
So,
I had an enemy, my life would be more complete.
I don't know. It just gives me more dramatic stories.
Yeah. Well,
I like how different our high school careers were in
I
like middle school because
know.
I'm like, here's where I almost got expelled for
I
nearly killing
just
somebody or not.
I feel like I just don't remember anything from middle school and I barely remember anything from high school.
Middle school was fun. In
Really,
eighth
I that
grade,
was horrible for me.
I still had friends in middle school. High school, I didn't have any friends.
Yeah,
So,
I guess I maybe had friends in middle school. Freshman year of high school, I had no friends. So that
yeah,
was
I had
horrible.
the first guy to ever propose to me was my only friend in like freshman year. Um,
Oh god.
and then he moved to China. Um,
Oh, that's exciting.
I mean, I had friends, but I wouldn't like realistically. I don't. We weren't friends,
Uh-huh.
right? Like our friendship died pretty quick after that.
So, uh Saint tells their story. The principal, whatever, the teachers hear about this and they decide to give Shin one more chance, partly because Chadjun's family was kind of vouching for him, and then partially because of Saint's confession. Um, so they're like, okay, maybe he's not in a gang. So they give him one more chance. He's not quite expelled yet.
Hmm.
And Saint, of course, waits outside of Shin's house and tells him he wants to fight, I guess. And they meet in the gym, and Saint yells at him for not coming to school as if he's not the reason. Like, this pissed me off too because he was like, because Shin wasn't coming to school because every time he comes to school, he gets literally harassed by Saint. And so Saint was like, why aren't you coming to school? You need to come to school. And it's like, bro, you're the reason. Like, maybe if you didn't harass me, I would actually come to school. So that was very hypocritical in my view.
School's very important to Saint, despite the fact that he sleeps all the time, though. So,
Yeah, apparently Saint literally does not give a shit about school, but um Saint is like, you should take revenge on me. And Shin is like, well, can you give up anything as important to you as soccer was to me? And so the next day, Saint is like, okay, you're on. I'll give up the most important thing to me as long as you come to school. Otherwise, like, they're going to expel you. And
hmm.
Saint ends up withdrawing because he's like, the most important thing to me is being with you. So that's what I'm giving up. So he actually does withdraw from school and leave Shin alone for the first time in
Yeah.
the show.
See, he does care about Shin. It's not all selfish.
Sure.
He does.
It
He wants to.
still is giving guilt tripping to me, but it is
Yeah.
like, it's like an overcorrection. This is okay. This is the reason why it feels like guilt tripping is because he just overreacts to this and is like, well, you don't want to see me? Okay, I'm never coming to school again and it's your fault. Instead of just like leaving, like giving him his personal space in school. Like, he completely overcorrects to the opposite side of things and it feels manipulative to me. uh, like, I
I
know
have to
it's,
disagree on this one.
that's fair.
Like I see where you're coming from, but I don't think that was Saint's lodge. Like I don't think it's that deep for him. I think it's
No,
literally like I education is important, and I took away one career path for Shin. Like, I don't want to take
Mm-hmm.
away his education too, because that's going to ruin any other career path he has, because he needs to go to college and do whatever and whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
Saint doesn't feel like he has a future anyway, so that's where like school for him is kind of take it or leave it. So
Yeah,
that's why it's
no.
like if anything, I think it's more of a parental expectation, right? Is where it was is for him. But
Mm-hmm.
even his dad's kind of like do whatever you want. Um,
To be fair, I
yeah.
don't think Saint is like consciously, meticulously manipulating
No,
things.
I don't
Like,
think so
I
either.
don't think he's like that at all. But I do think subconsciously the things he does are the implications they have are selfish. Like, I think he probably could have just given Shin space in class and not harassed him every day, and Shin would have come to school.
But he's a
And
teenager.
yeah, and so instead, he's just very dramatic about it, goes completely the opposite direction, and now it's Shin's burden to bear again the fact that Saint isn't coming to school. And I'm just like, oh my god, like everything. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean, I just
everything Saint does, Shin has to bear the burden of it, and it's like I would be so sick of this.
yeah, I mean, like I get what you're saying, but I still just don't think it's that deep for Saint. I think he's
No,
just
I don't think so at
this
all
is
either.
like I think that for him, especially like dropping out of school, is like this is what Shin wants. Like
Mm-hmm.
I give up. This is me raising the white flag. I'm not gonna harass him until the end of time anymore, because if it's him dropping out of school or us being
Mm-hmm.
friends, I'd rather him not drop out of school.
No, I totally
um
agree that he thinks that way. I wish he would just think a little more.
yeah, but he's a teenage
Perhaps.
boy.
He is. And you know what? Boo. Boo. I'm sorry. Listen, once all this shit is over and once Saint starts acting normal, I do start liking him. But
hmm
this is just not the right foot for me to meet a
Yeah,
character on. So,
yeah. I mean, I definitely like I'm with you every step of the way with like, okay, he's harassing Shin too much, but you've lost me at this point where I'm like,
yeah.
okay. I'm like, no, I like him being this dramatic feels very on brand for teenage boy.
Yeah,
Um,
no. It's definitely like dramatic cuz he's trying to help, but like
mhm.
reading into this with adult eyes, I'm like you're actually
Yeah, no, I
doing
mean
the
this
opposite
doesn't
of helping.
yeah, which,
Yeah. But I don't think it's malicious or anything, but I do
no.
think it's annoying. So, yeah, cuz now Saint is absent from school. A couple of his classmates try to convince Saint to come back to school, and it doesn't work out. They can't convince him to come back, and they realize only one person can convince him to do that. Oh my god!
Shock.
It's yeah, shocker. It's gonna be Shin.
Mhm.
Um, in the meantime, though, we get Cable, who is the principal's son. He wants to quit school. He's under too much pressure. He asks his mom to like stop putting all this pressure on him because he's like, I don't want to end up like my brother Copter. And his mom's like, just trust me and listen to me. And I think Copter is another loose end because I kind of feel like we never find out what happens to him
Uh
unless I missed that.
I think we did, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't, because I was like
It's
trying to watch for it, but they say something about how he's gone or gone missing, and I don't know if that means he ran away from home or he is dead now. I feel like I never got closure on that.
yeah, I don't remember anymore because it
Yeah.
was because I feel like he ran away, but like they know where he's at, but it was he like dropped out and whatever because of the pressure. I want to
Yeah.
say,
It was something like that. Maybe we'll get we have a little bit more interaction of Cable and his mother later, but I also kind of felt like I was like, I don't know if they really answered. Like, maybe it was a
yeah,
translation thing, but I thought it was kind of vague the way they phrased it.
yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head anymore.
Yeah.
Um, Cable and the pressure though is so relatable.
Yeah. No, that's the problem with class two is that the two students who are doing the best in class academically are the two that are struggling the most because
Hmm.
the pressure that they're receiving is just like
Yeah.
they can't handle it, which is really fair.
Hmm.
And so Shin goes to see Saint for the first time. He actually seeks him out at his new job. And he is kind of surprised that Saint is like serious about dropping out. And he's not just doing this to provoke him. Because I think Shin also thinks that Saint is maybe doing this kind of like to manipulate him. But he's kind of shocked
Yeah.
that he's not. So, you know.
Yeah. No, because I mean, Saint definitely was like, I don't have a future regardless. So,
Yeah, I'll just drop out and it'll be
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
And so Saint's dad finds out about him dropping out, and it seems like for some reason he's okay. He like accepts Saint's choice. But
Hmm.
it's because him and Mr. Soong secretly have a plan together. So, so on their way to like officially resign from school, Saint and his dad show up and Mr. Soong is like, okay, before you do that, you have to go to the gym because your classmates want to say goodbye to you. And so Saint goes, only Shin is there, and they were both kind of tricked into coming to the gym. And their classmates lock them in, and their goal is to get them to like, reconcile. And Shin randomly is just like, "Oh, let's do rock paper scissors." And Saint is super confused. He's like, why are we doing this? And Shin is like, you dummy, this is just like an excuse to make up with you. And Shin basically orders him to come back to school, and Saint agrees. That's good. Education's very important. Um, and the teachers, they have flirty vibes. And
So,
that leads literally nowhere. You're so right. And Shin brings Saint to pick up his sister, and he says they're not friends yet, but he acknowledges them as classmates. So this is kind of wrapping up that era, and from now on they're kind of just good with each other. So I feel like that's kind of the main conflict of the show. I'm kind of surprised the show went on so long after that, considering I feel like that was the climax.
they could have done like even 12 episodes of dragging that out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, 8 episodes was plenty.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like that they go into like because now we start to get more into like the other characters and like what's going on with them
Yeah.
because we start seeing even like some of the backstory of like the teachers like even though I didn't like them like getting the backstory I
Mm-hmm.
think is really cool.
I
Like you
thought it
get
was
Ken.
weird though because most shows do this first and then they get into the real meat and potatoes of like the real conflict of the show, but this show decides to do the conflict first and then all the side stories and side characters at the end, which I thought was very strange structure.
Who directed this? I don't know who Fawn is.
But that's where I'm like, I
Um,
don't remember School 2013 enough to remember if this is just like how they do it, which is why this
yeah,
does it this way, which may be the answer because I don't remember. But yeah, I'm not sure who directs
yeah.
this.
It's somebody named Fawn, but she also did Us and 23 and a half
Oh.
and um Together the movie and she's doing Scarlet Heart. So she's
Mhm.
and whatever you Prince is, there's like a million of them. Um
Oh, yeah.
so
I vaguely remember that.
yeah, so because I was looking because I was like, is this new? Because this feels like something new would do. Um,
Uh huh.
but
Yeah, it's a very interesting
yeah,
structure for a show. I've never seen this before. It feels backwards to me, but
but it would feel I think weirder if we did everything else first and then brought Shin and Saint back together. because
But I
they
feel
work
like,
together to help with a lot of it. But
yeah, it's no, that's true. But I do feel like it's weird that all of these side characters we're just finally getting to know, whereas it's like it would have been nice to know them from the beginning, so I knew
yeah,
their names at least when they were fighting.
yeah, I think we could have done a better job of introducing them when they do come in because all of them have been here the entire time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like all the girls have been here, all the guys have been here the entire time, and the only one we really kind of know is Ken.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
Ken and Chat Jen, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, everyone else, like they've been there and there's been fighting and whatever, and you kind of find the divide between the two rivalries, but like the name thing was so hard, and a lot of that was not knowing the actors because I knew Mark and I knew
Other Mark.
Art. Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
And
I knew
Est,
I
but he's barely there.
yeah. Yeah, I knew Est at that point. But yeah, Est has like 4 lines in the show. He just kind of
Yeah.
stands in the back a lot. I don't know what the deal with that was.
Yeah,
Um,
he's kind of an extra that sometimes takes off his
yeah.
shirt and swims and I'm like, "Oh, actually, this is great."
Yeah. So, but yeah, and then I mean I knew the
Yeah.
twins too, but but like
Mhm.
even like their characters are just kind of there to support Ken until
Mhm.
I'd say this arc here. But yeah, I think we could have done a better job of introducing them even if we didn't like it's almost like we should have set up a lot of like this backstory better and introduced them, but
Yes.
not resolved this arc until now.
Yes, I completely
So
agree. Like I
so,
love like I
so
needed a little planting of the seeds of all these stories throughout the show and not
yeah,
just like it starts this episode, ends next episode, never mentioned again, move on.
yeah.
Like,
I I feel like they tried to put the seeds in for like some of the stuff like with what's going on with Ken, right?
Ken
Like because we know,
especially, yeah.
yeah, but and then we know that the girls were like also fighting each other, but like the whole friendship that happens or whatever and stuff like that
Mhm.
you don't see until like it's forced on you
Yeah,
all of a
cuz
sudden. That
honestly,
definitely came out of nowhere.
I know I feel like I care the most about the girls' story in the show, but it feels like it starts to go somewhere, but because it starts at episode 9 and 10, it feels underbaked by the end of the show.
Yeah.
Instead of maybe planting some of the seeds earlier on, then maybe it could have felt more satisfying, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think Satan should needed to be resolved first, but I do think we could have introduced these plot lines a little earlier because
Yeah.
it's not like this all just started out of nowhere.
No, because episode 9 is basically a completely like I honestly don't this episode's something completely different. Like this is like a new show this episode
Yeah.
cuz the whole
This could
story
have been a
has
season 2.
yeah, this whole story has nothing to do with that previous episodes and nothing to do with the future episodes for the
Mhm.
most part, except maybe a little bit of the girls' storyline. But
Mhm.
because basically we start with one girl stealing some answers to a social studies exam. And of course, I'm like, this could be a girl in the main class because I don't know
Yeah.
any of the girls because they haven't introduced us at all. But it's not actually. You're not supposed to know her, which is
Yeah, I definitely didn't
a
know if I knew
relief.
her or not.
Yeah, I was like, who is that? And on the same night, so Shin he kind of burns his and Xing Xing's dinner. So he calls Saint. He's like, and Saint's like, hey, you should come to my dad's noodle stand. And so they all go eat together because they're like friendly now. And while they're there, they see Pita, who is one of their classmates. She's like the vice president, and she's getting bullied by some guys. And they go over help her. They kind of scare the guys off. And so then the next day, Peta, she kind of gets into an argument in the library with two other girls. She's trying to study because she's very studious, and they're like talking really loudly. And the girls are Eri and Tangmei. They're in her class, but from like the other campus. Um, so then, when later that day, Peta's locker is just covered in pink paint. Eri and Tangmei are like the obvious suspects. So Peta and her friend Eve accuse Eri and Tangmei because, it just kind of seems like the logical choice.
Yeah, that's what I would have assumed too.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And during this time, the social studies answers are being passed around. They are negative, sneaky about this because the teachers intercept. And the teachers are like, oh, the students are cheating. Oh my god, so Miss Jan, she forces the students to like hit her on the arm because she's like, bad teacher, bad teacher. I
She's so weird.
it's so weird and awkward. This whole scene is I want to tell her to get a grip
Yeah.
cuz it's really weird. And I thought she like was had a plan or something, but no, she was just like forcing students to hit her because she felt like a bad teacher because they were cheating. And it's like they're high schoolers. If someone gives them the answer to a test, they're gonna take it, like regardless if you're a good teacher or not. And for some reason, Shin, Saint, and Chajin, they have to go and console their emotionally unregulated teacher, cause she, cause she's just so, bro. She's got the like weakest little wimpy spine of all time, and she's just like not cut out for this, to be honest.
But her of all people in charge of like the toughest class, where you need
Yeah.
like the strongest backbone.
Uh-huh. She's like
Um,
crumbling because they cheated on a test or they planned to cheat on a test. It's like, okay, your classmates are in gangs. Like,
yeah, cheating is nothing.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, to be honest, it's the least of your worry and it's not your fault. But
Yeah,
also, it's social studies and you're the Thai teacher, so they're not cheating on your test. But anyway,
yeah.
this made me start really disliking Miss Jan. I was like, okay, this bitch does not know what she's doing. But
I'm wondering if some of this is maybe a cultural thing. Not like the
maybe.
hitting her, but I think like the like emotional response to
Mm-hmm.
like is I think there might be a little bit of a cultural aspect that we're missing on that. I still think this is abnormal. Like
Yeah, I
'cause
feel
even the kids are weirded out by having to hit her, so
it
um
feels very unprofessional for me.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can't imagine having that kind of a teacher.
no. Um and so the teacher of class 3 immediately blames class 2 and she's like, your class is full of the delinquents and they should all fail the exam, like they're the reason the cheatings happen. And so at this point then, I don't know why they didn't do this first, but they decide to view the CCTV, which apparently they had available to them the whole time and they just didn't look at it until now. But now they know it was actually a girl from class 3. Her name is Prong, and we have never met her before. But she
Yep.
is the one who stole the answers. And
Suck it, class 3 teacher.
yeah, I know. Like, I don't know why they were arguing about this for so long, like accusing each other when they could have just looked at the footage. But exactly. So yeah, take that. Um, and she insists that she did it alone. She's like, no, it was my idea. No one was helping me. But she's lying.
Of course.
And of course, but the reason is because she ends up telling Eri and Tangmei that she was forced to steal because she was being bullied. And the bullies also made her put the paint in Peta's locker. And they said, if you don't do this, they basically blackmailed her. And they're like, we're going to release photos that we took of you changing in the locker room where she's like pretty much naked. It's like revenge porn, pretty much, which is incredibly fucked up. Yeah, I feel so bad for her. Um, and they make a remark where she said she told her teacher, but the bullies bullied her harder. And they never come back to this. But I'm like, wait, what? She told her teacher? And her teacher didn't really do anything. Like, I don't know. That was kind of like a throwaway line, but I was just kind of like, wait, what?
Because didn't they like threaten her more because she went to the teacher, and so she had to like back out of like
Uh-huh. Pretty much,
some of it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And so, after that, Eri and Tongmei, so they tell their male classmates and they confront the bullies. And they, as if like fucking, what's his name? I'm blanking. The guy who's in the gang.
Ken?
Oh, Ken. Yeah, as if Ken cares about women's rights at all or anything. But um, all the male classmates, they end
Poor
up,
Ken.
yeah, like confronting the bullies, and so they're all in the gym with like bats, and they're all gonna like kill each other basically because they have like baseball bats or like metal
So
pipes.
this is so insane.
I
The setup
know.
for this was wild.
I know. I feel like maybe go to the police.
No, the kids can handle it on their own with some pipes.
Apparently. I'm like, I don't know what the laws are there, but I know in the US, like if you're underage and someone is passing around inappropriate photos of you, like that is very illegal. So,
It's illegal, but
whatever.
how likely is it for a guy to get prosecuted for that?
I don't know, but I guess we'll leave it up to the bats.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him right now.
Yeah. And so the teachers come before they actually fight and they grab Pipe, who is the main bully. And he's not only is he the one that's been bullying Prong, but he's also been bullying Peta. And the class 2 girls, they give a video of the bullying as proof, which I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, but whatever. And Prong confesses to Peta that like she covered her locker in paint and why. She's like, sorry, like I literally don't even know you, but like I had to do this, otherwise they were gonna do this to me. And Peta like doesn't. Peta's mad about it still because Peta's weird, but her best friend Eve basically apologizes to like Eri and Tangmei. She's like, sorry, I thought it was you guys. I accused you. I was wrong. Whatever. She apologizes. Yeah, no, this is when we like meet Eve, and I really like Eve. So Pipe again tries to bully Prong at night, but Mr. Sung shows up. It's basically a setup, and Prong punches Mr. Sung, but Miss Jan is secretly filming, so they use this to blackmail a lot of students. They use this to blackmail him into not bullying Prong anymore, or they won't get him expelled, which is the second time they've done this. It's literally it's have you seen Glee? It's like
Not all of it.
it's like when Mr. Schuster, the first episode, when he plants weed in Finn's locker and is like, if you join Glee Club, I won't show the weed to the principal and get you expelled. It's like kind of giving that. but like it's actually like a bad person instead of, Mr. Schuster being the bad person, but yeah.
I guess with these kids, since there's so much gang stuff involved, like empty threats are empty and very obviously empty. So you have to have
Uh-huh.
like real blackmail to get anything through to these kids. But also, I'm not sure how many of these kids actually care about getting expelled.
I know, that's the thing. I'm like, I feel like that's maybe not the best leverage, but
I mean, it seems like they
sure.
care
It seems like
because
it
it kind of
works well
works.
enough,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like
So,
none of these kids would actually care.
yeah, because after this, I don't think we ever see Prong again. We'll never see Pipe again. So, I guess it's fixed.
Yeah.
I wish they maybe
Because they
reoccurred a
were
little bit, but
yeah, they're in a different class, so they don't
yeah,
matter.
they don't
Class
matter
two
at
is the one that
all.
matters. Yeah.
We only need to use them to exploit some girl being victimized.
Yep.
That's her only importance, which is like not my favorite trope for a female character, but
Here we are.
here we are. And at least we get to learn about some of the other girls right now, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because we learn that Aerie, she is experiencing food insecurity. Her family doesn't have a lot of money, but she's an actor, but she hasn't been getting a lot of acting roles lately. So Eve kind of overhears this and kind of gives her a part of her sandwich. And so that's when we start like shipping them, kind of. um, and then remember how Jeng had stolen, or he's like repossessed Ken's bike?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ken is like, I want to steal that back. So he calls up Saint. He's like, hey, steal my bike back. And Saint goes, and Shin hears about this. So he goes, stop him, and ends up taking a pipe to the leg. But they get out, but they don't get the bike. But they're really ballsy around this gang, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I like they're in a place where if they just left the gang alone, outside of Ken, they'd all be fine.
Yeah.
Like everything's chill for the moment. Like I know Jang
Mm.
is still out for blood with Shin, but like nothing's been happening.
No, he
So now
won't
that
do
now they're
anything to
antagonizing.
Shin.
Yeah.
For some reason, Ken has to do things to Shin, but Jeng
Yeah.
won't do them, so he's okay.
Yeah, so now Saint and Shin are just antagonizing a gang for no reason.
For no reason, yeah. I don't know what Ken offered to give him in exchange for his bike, but
Yeah, I don't
apparently it
remember.
was. I don't even think he. I don't know if he offered anything. I think he was just
I
like,
don't
do this, and Saint was like, okay. I don't remember. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I feel like there was something to it, but it was still I don't know.
But
I don't think there's
yeah.
much anything that would have convinced me to go do that.
I know, right? And so after this, like they escape, they go to, Shin's house, and they're outside of Shin's house talking, and his mom sees them. She comes out once again, slap Saint. Lady, you really can't be slapping like 17-year-olds like this. But she once again is like, stay away from my son. And Saint is like, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't be your friend. I will stay away from him. Goodbye forever. And shit is like, she's like, what the fuck? You begged me for weeks to be your friend again. And finally I accept, and all of a sudden now you're just gonna walk away from me? Like, bro. And I agree. I'm so exhausted from their relationship at this point. I'm just like, oh my fucking god. Like,
I think
it's
for me
stressing me out.
it's no, it's definitely stressful and
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely frustrating, this back and forth nonsense. But like I think at that moment it's the okay, this is what I want, but faced with the reality of looking at a parent and going, okay, I know where she's coming from,
Uh-huh.
but you know,
The problem is that not once in the show, up till now, has Saint ever thought, what does Shin want? It's always, what do I want? Or what does Shin's mom want? But he never once is like, what does Shin want? And so that pisses me off.
but the problem is what Shin wants is opposite of what Saint wanted in the
Yeah.
first 8 episodes.
I
So-
know. And it's like, well, that's just like, maybe you don't actually care that much about Shin if you're going to prioritize everyone else's needs over Shin's.
It's not everyone's, it's just
That's true.
Saints.
If you prioritize your own needs over Shin's, maybe you're not such a, I don't know. But this was annoying because it's like, okay, like you're gonna listen to
Yeah.
Shin's mom, but you're not gonna listen to Shin. Like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this one felt a little off for me. I was
yeah,
like, I kind of get where he's coming from, where, it's having to face that reality again, that he was a really shitty friend.
yeah.
And
But
then
it's like Shin begged you for weeks to leave him alone. You wouldn't. Shin's mom asked you once to leave him alone, and you're like, okay.
yeah.
Okay. What?
But wait. But wasn't this where Shin and his mom started fighting over it, and that's where Saint
Yeah.
stepped in and went, okay, okay. So see, it makes a little bit more sense in that context though, where it was like Shin didn't want to come, or Saint didn't want to come between Shin and his mom. Like that was a line for him,
Yeah. But it's
and
like
that's
you put yourself in that situation. Like
yeah. Again,
you
teenager. I don't think
wiggled.
he was thinking that far.
He no, definitely wasn't, but it doesn't it just like I'm just like annoyed.
I gotta defend my boy here.
Yeah, no,
Like
that's
we're
fine.
leaving
Go
out
for it.
context.
Yeah. No, that's so fair. But it doesn't last long, fortunately,
No.
because the teachers they notice that they're fighting again, and so they get them to be friends again by like making them clean out the supply closet together and like
This was so funny.
I know, like forcing them into like a small space together. So they're doing that. Um, Ari tries to guess who Eve's childhood crush was, and oh my god, it was Ari, because Eve watched like the shows and movies that Ari had acted in. So I thought this was going somewhere because clearly it's set up for it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, goes nowhere.
Yeah. I don't think any romance comes out of this, period, right?
None. No romance.
There's
And
so
like
much
you
setup.
they set up for like 3 separate couples and they follow through with 0 of them, which is like so unsatisfying. Like come
Everything's a
on.
bromance.
Everything's a bromance. Yeah. Hashtag everything's a bromance. Yeah. So now we get to know the twins. So Not, who's one of the twins, he's becoming a little bit more studious. He's taking school a little more serious. And because Ken and his brother Nate have been skipping school. So he tries to tell them to like come back to school. But they're just like, no, and punch him. And he's like, okay.
So dumb.
Again, chill. But and so Not eventually unfriends Ken over this. And Shin and Saint still haven't like reconciled, so Mr. Soong like locks them on the roof together.
It's crazy.
This is so crazy. Um and Shin basically says he's like, "Hey, I wasn't mad that you broke my leg. I was mad that you left me after you broke my leg." Which I call bullshit.
I think it's both. I think
Yeah.
realistically it's both, but I think he got over the leg thing more than the abandonment. I think is really what it is. So,
It could be true, but hey, if my best friend broke my leg and ruined my future for no reason,
yeah,
unforgivable.
I mean, I also wouldn't forgive that. I hold grudges anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but I again, this would make a whole lot more sense if they were dating.
That's what I
Um,
was just about to say. No, I was like, this is once again, like, if this was like a romantic thing, I think I could, like,
it
excuse it. Yeah.
yeah, it makes a lot more sense as far as like
Mm-hmm.
BL tropes go.
Yeah, blinded by love, like, whatever. Like, I totally 100% see that. But because they don't want it to be BBL, I am
Yeah,
just like, no, if this show wasn't a coward and they made it gay, I would be so much more lenient on it, honestly, because it just would make more sense. Like,
yeah.
you
And I
know?
mean, I guess for me, literally at this point, I just accepted it was a BL, and so I just rolled with
Mm,
it in that way.
yeah. You
Because
kind of have to. Like, otherwise
yeah,
it really doesn't make sense.
yeah. Because I will say, if a friend of mine, even if it was unintentional,
Mm-hmm.
because like beating the shit out of him was intentional, right? It was just the like he like stomped on his leg or something and broke it, didn't
Mm-hmm.
he? Yeah, like
Yeah.
doing that, like absolutely not.
No.
Unforgivable.
Mm-mm.
Um and because it's one of those like because part of like the he was expected Saint to like come see him in the hospital and I'm like I would have tried to kill him from the hospital bed.
Yep.
Um
Yep. Agreed.
so
Yeah. And so Shin punches Saint, and some chairs fall on Saint and knock him out. But he's okay, and they make up because Shin's like, oh no, I didn't really mean to hurt you. But also,
Yep.
like, they're locked on the roof because Mr. Soong is, like,
These
insane.
teachers.
Yeah, so it's like if they actually needed help, they'd be fucked.
Yeah,
Saint might
because like
die.
he leaves, doesn't he? He's not that he's like hiding somewhere where they can't
Well,
see him. He's just
they
gone.
no. Him and Miss Jan are hiding
Oh,
somewhere where
are
they
they?
can't see,
Okay.
except when Saint has a bunch of chairs fall on his head and he passes out and Shin is screaming for help. They just apparently do nothing. Apparently. Because they don't show them hiding until the very end after they make up. And it's like, okay, what were you guys doing when your student was like
Injured?
injured and screaming for help?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Useless teachers.
exactly. Um, and oh, we get the other quote that Shin says, "Besides soccer, you're the only one I care about." And Shane, Saint, Saint cries after hearing this. So
See, they're both in love with each other. This
they
is
really
not a bromance.
no, it's not a bromance, and there's no logical way to interpret it as that.
No, it doesn't make any sense. The
It
amount of
doesn't.
times Saint looks at Shin and goes, "I love you," like,
Uh, it's like I don't know, maybe male toxicity or whatever has lessened, but I don't really think I don't know. I don't
yeah.
think guys do this with their friends.
I've never seen it.
I've
Doesn't
never
mean it
seen
doesn't
it either.
happen, but
Hmm.
it's not even just saying like "I love you." It's just like the way it's said, right?
Yeah, and just like the love blindness,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost done. We're on episode 12 out of 16, but these are really short because not much happens in any of these episodes. So, not ask Miss Jan if she can get Ken and Nate to come back to school. And also Miss Jan picks Cable and Eve for a Thai language contest, which is T because Peta, who's the other high achiever in class, she's really sad because her mom is like pushing her to do this for her college application. So Peta argues with Eve about this because she thinks she's like a better student than Eve is, but Eve technically has higher scores in Thai. Um, and Cable again is kind of cracking under this pressure to perform and to do well academically, and he asks his mom if he could not compete. So we kind of have our two students in this class like really cracking at this point.
Miss this part of school.
No, no, not at all. That yeah, it's like so stressful.
Peta and Eve thing was tough
Uh-huh.
because when you're the top of the class overall, but all of a
Mhm.
sudden your friend is better in one subject and gets the one thing that you're banking on,
Yeah, and
like
it's
the way
mostly like
she,
the parental pressure too.
yeah, and it's like she shouldn't have taken it out on Eve, but
Mhm.
like when you're already cracking from all of that pressure, like it makes sense it happened because again, teenager.
Yeah,
Um, it's just
agreed.
tough and
Mm,
shitty
it
for no
is.
reason.
I know.
So
um, but at least we have Shin and Saint. They take a photo together. Saint is losing his mind over this because he's so
because
happy.
he's in love.
He's in love. And S is swimming, which I love to see. Love to see a swim boy swim.
Mhm.
And Shin announces his friendship with Saint to his other friends, which again makes way more sense to announce your relationship. Like no one announces a friendship, but I guess we're going the route for this, so I don't know.
There's nothing het about them.
There isn't at all. It's just the lack of gay confirmation that it's like, okay, confused why we're not fully going into this, but I will choose. This is when I start to like the relationship, actually, when they're like both mutually enjoying each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
From now on, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with Saint. But from there back, I was really, you heard me, I was heated about it. But
It's so funny to me.
yeah. But now I'm like, I get it, because now they're cute together, so.
Mm-hmm.
But,
So now it's fine that he broke his leg?
yeah. Well, no. But at
You
least
said
he's
it. You
not like,
said yes.
yeah. Okay. Now I get the dynamic. I just didn't like the stalking, begging, pathetic dynamic. But now I'm like, oh, they're friends? I get it. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like night and day in the show. And Jang is still wants Ken to make Shin cry. He's still not over that.
It's so weird.
So, yeah, that will become a problem very soon. And Peta's mom bitched to the principal about the contest, about how her daughter isn't involved, whatever. And so the principal is now swapping out Eve for Peta. And the classmates are mad because Miss Jan has to be like, hey, taking out Eve for Peta, whatever. And classmates are like, oh my god, that's really messed up. And Peta's mom is like putting so much pressure on her, and she takes a pill. And at this point, I just assumed it was like Adderall or something. Yeah, but it's not. We'll get to that later, but keep that in mind. And also Cable, similarly to Peta, is cracking under the pressure imposed by his mom, and he ends up going missing, actually. He leaves one night and no one knows where he is. That's really, really bad. So, and no, me neither. And
Stressed.
and his mom was really not doing anything to help.
Nope. Only making it worse.
No. And someone else goes missing. It's Saint. He's kidnapped by Jang because Jang wants to beat Shin, but Saint is like, I will take his beating by proxy. So I guess he's gonna do that.
Saint perpetually being beat up in the show.
Yeah, oh my god, but at least he's a tank. It like literally doesn't affect him at all. It's kind of, I feel like the show might be supernatural, but they never discuss that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Miss Jan announces to the class that Cable is missing. She's like, if you have any leads, let me know. But now that he's gone, Eve is back in the Thai language competition. So it's her and Peta now.
So awkward. Like,
yeah.
I get it, but it's like, hey, your classmate's missing, so we're gonna go ahead and replace him in this competition.
I know.
Okay.
And honestly, kind of no one cares about Cable.
I know.
To be honest.
It's so sad too.
I know.
Because Cable is doing his best. He's trying.
He's really trying. He's like pretty decent as like a person, you know.
He does he never does any of the fighting, but he has been there to try to like help
end it.
Help fix things.
Mm-hmm.
So
so it's kind of sad when he goes missing, and honestly, like no one really cares. Yeah.
Well, Saint would care, but Saint's also a little occupied.
Yeah. Because Ken is getting beat up by Jang, first of all, for helping Saint, like during the motorcycle debacle. And then he goes home and he's beat up by his dad, which is sad. And this is basically, we kind of get into his home life where we see that he hasn't been to school in like a while. And so his friends, they go to his house. They try to get him to like leave Jang and the gang, but he's very defensive about it. So like he punches them and they all have a tussle, and Miss Jan shows up for some reason. The teachers are always showing up to weird places where it's like, why do they even know to go there?
Yeah.
Um, and
I think this might also be another cultural thing of like teachers doing house visits and whatever.
oh my god, I hope these teachers are being paid $1 billion. They're doing so much work. Like,
Yeah. I
at
mean, I
least.
feel like some of this is above and beyond, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've seen it in enough different shows from like different like Asian countries that I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's some cultural aspect to it. It's not just a weird random show
Yeah.
thing.
I hope teachers are comparatively being paid better there than they are here, because here they're barely paid a living wage. They're not even paid a living wage.
No.
And, like, I can't imagine them having to do all this on top of that, because, like, our teachers get paid literally nothing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know
that,
how much anyone gets paid.
I know, that's the other thing I was thinking of. I was like, wow, I hope these teachers are, like, getting paid so much money, because there's no way they can do all of this and also have a social life, or if they had a family, God forbid. Like, there's no way they could do this.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like if Jan had like a husband, he would not let her go get involved in gang stuff.
no. Yeah. And so during this tussle, Ken falls. He hits his head on a vase. He has to go to the hospital. He's okay though, but like Jan
That was
blames.
stressful.
I know. Because he starts like bleeding immediately. And Jan blames herself for this because once again she just kind of ran into a fight
Yep.
for no.
I
Bro,
I
stop.
thought we were gonna I thought we were gonna have a character death here. I
I thought so
legit thought.
too. Yeah, that's
I was
kind of
like,
yeah. I
so
was
this it's like
expecting
we're
it.
on episode 13 of 16,
Uh
character
huh.
death to wrap up this and in the gang war or whatever.
Yeah, but every time someone gets like mortally injured in the show, they're just like fine, like immediately.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, great.
Hmm.
Didn't have to worry about that. Um, and so after that, Jang is like, okay, your options are you can either pay back your debt, which Ken can't do because he doesn't have the money, or you can, once again, make Shin cry, which apparently he can't do, or you can go do this drug delivery job. So he's like, okay, I'll take the third option,
Great.
which is the weirdest, whatever. We'll not get into the realisticness of gangs because I
Having a
don't,
teenager do
yeah,
this.
yeah, I don't care anymore. So So on the other side, because this is all happening, no one cares about Cable, except for Chadjen, because Cable is staying at Chadjen's house, and so he tells Saint and Shin. This is really funny, but he basically kind of convinces them to come over, and he's acting weird, and Saint's like, okay, and Shin is like, wait, like what's going on? Like Shin picks up right away that Chadjen is like hinting at something, and he's like, what's at your house? Who's at your house? Is Cable at your house? And Chadjen's kind of just like, you guys should come over. So,
Chad didn't promised he wouldn't say that Cable was there, which
uh-huh.
is why he was skirting around it.
Yeah.
So,
And it's so funny. I really like Shin and Chadjen's relationship,
hmm
to
I
be
do too.
honest. And so they kind of go visit him. They see that he's okay. Not that they really cared before that, but now they do, I guess. And they kind of all have like a sleepover. And like Chechan and Cable are kind of discussing the pressure that they feel from their parents. And they kind of both have a different outlook on this. And so Chechan is kind of just like, okay, instead of like running away, what I do is I try to prove my mom wrong. Like if my mom thinks, I can't do this, I work as hard as I can and I like show her that I can do this, whatever. And so this kind of inspires Cable to reconnect with his mom and take a different approach. And so he calls his mom. His mom is overjoyed to hear from him. And they all go eat noodles, and the principal, like, she goes, of course, with them, and like sees them all get along, which is very exciting because it's people from class 2 from different campuses getting along. So that's a sign of growth. Except Miss Jan resigns.
I think I would also resign, though, if I put a child in the hospital. I would have spiraled. I would have crashed
Yeah,
out.
that's fair. But it's like, she's kind of always involved with this.
Yeah. She didn't run headfirst into every fight,
Yeah.
you know?
She, yeah. She's just very, like, soft in general. And it's like, okay.
Same, though.
I know. But
I like to
man.
pretend like I'm not, but I am soft little cinnamon roll.
But she's just so constantly, like, her students are always out alphaing her. And it's, like, embarrassing for her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. Backbone. All right. Episode 14. Saint is staying over at Shin's house for the first time since the breakup. So this is a new progress in their relationship. And they do some arts and crafts with Xing Xing, which is cute. So good for them. And several classmates, they visit Miss Jan's house and they just like clean her house. They're kind of trying to convince her to come back, but also, you know, they just kind of, she's like, I need to clean before I move or whatever. And they're like, we'll do it. So.
Yeah. I think that's their olive branch to her.
Yes, definitely. And Peta, she's still in the wrong, but somehow she's still the one mad at Eve for being friends with Aerie. Like, I get that Peta's kind of strung out right now, but like, she can't be like mean to Eve and then mad that Eve has a new friend because she's being mean to her, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so Peta takes the pills again, and Aerie sees this time. But it doesn't really, yeah. It doesn't really matter because Aerie doesn't really do anything about it, so. Ken fails the drug delivery because someone sees him, so he tries, the next time he's selling drugs, he does it in broad daylight on a public street in front of his house to 2 children. And when I saw this, I was like, you're joking. You're memeing right now.
Teenager.
He's so stupid. Like that, this is why you're failing your drug deals. Like, I know he has to do this to get out of his gang, but like, I could give him pointers on this. Like, as someone who has never dealt drugs before, I think I could give you maybe a couple points of advice.
I would also say, I would assume that you're not actually going to get out of a gang once you start dealing drugs for them.
No.
Just
definitely not in front of your house in broad daylight to children.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. And of course, Saint and Shin see him do this, and so like they come, and like other people in the class come, and they try to like help him, and they just like have this long talk, whatever. Like they want to get him out of this. They care about him, and he ends up crying because they care about him and stuff, and so they all have like a group hug. So that's great because that's the first time they're reaching Ken, who before this kind of seems like a psychopath. So Shin, Saint, Chajun, they have a sleepover. This is when he finally tells them about moving abroad, even though like him and like we have known about this for episodes now. This is the first time and like his classmates have heard this, so
Sad.
I know. So the classmates, they are really taking care of Ken now. They basically pick him up to bring him to school because they want to make sure he goes to school. When they are doing this, his dad is there and he insults his son. He's basically like, why bother caring for Ken? Like, he's bad at school. He's not going to make anything of himself anyway. Like, he's stupid and dumb and whatever. And Cha-Chun stands up for Ken. And Ken cries.
I love Cha-Chun.
I know. He's such a baller, honestly. Like, he doesn't care. He's just like, if it's what he thinks is right, he's gonna do it. And I love that.
Also, Ken's dad sucks.
Ken's dad really sucks, yeah. Like, yeah, he's an asshole for sure. So, finally, all the class is present for the first time in, like, probably months. And they're all getting along. And Ken refers to everyone as his friend. And it all seems happy, except Peta is still sulking. She's still, like, people try to be friends with her, and she's just really, like, prickly to them. Like, she doesn't want to be friends back.
High-key stressed.
Yeah. And so Miss Jan visits Ken's dad, tells him she's like, hey, you need to stop being an abusive alcoholic because it's fucking up your son. And he's like, okay. Which I don't think that's how that works. But
no, it's not.
No.
It's how it would work is he would say, okay, get sober for like a week, relapse, and then be angry about relapsing and take that out on Ken.
Yeah, which is most realistic, but they don't show that, so I guess maybe we don't know. But
yeah, we're just going to assume everything's happy.
Yeah, everything at this point out, we're like an episode from the finale. Everything has to be happy. Except Peta, but we'll...
Yeah. We have to have some plot left for the last episode.
Yeah. Basically, her plot is that, well, first of all, the principal and all of class 2, they visit Miss Jan. They get her to come back. It works out, basically. They, like, stand outside her house, and they're like, come back. And she's like, okay. And Peta is, like, crashing out bad. Like, so bad she ends up having a seizure. And Shin and Saint are there, and so, like, they help her, and they find the pills that she had, and they realize this is Zheng's drug. It's not Adderall. It's some mysterious drug that Zheng had, but the one that Ken was dealing, basically.
But he wasn't the one that sold it to her.
No, she got it some other way. We don't know how.
Yeah, because I think even Ken was confused at some point.
Yes, Ken was very confused how she got this. So we don't know the relation. We never will.
Nope. Doesn't matter.
No. And so she goes to the hospital, and, like, she's really distraught because she's like, yeah, I have no friends. No one cares about me. But Eve visits because Eve is a nice person and a good friend. And even though Peta has been, like, really shitty to her the last couple of weeks, she still shows up. And so they make up, which is great because we got to wrap everything up here.
Yep.
Saint gives Shin's the cleats that he bought from him years prior. Shin's mom catches them and again is mad that Saint is hanging out around her son. Saint begs her for another chance to be Shin's friend, and Shin stands up for him and is basically, listen, Mom, no matter what you say, we're gonna be friends. And then Xing Xing backs them up, and she's like, yeah, he's my brother too, and, like, holds her hand. So the mom accepts, basically. And we have the final episode, which starts out with Saint saying, we can finally be together openly as friends.
Yep, friends.
Friends, just friends.
Friends. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, you need to... Being openly as friends is, like, a thing, for sure. So,
yeah.
That made me laugh. But, Mr. Soong and Jan, they pay off Ken's debts. And they return Ken's drugs in exchange for... they're like, you need to leave Ken alone. And Ken, you need to graduate. So that's kind of the trade-off here. And Chadjen, he like doesn't want to study abroad because he's afraid he won't have any more friends. But Saint and Shin like kind of hype him up. They're like, "Who wouldn't want to be your friend?" And we'll always be your friend, even if we're like long distance. And so Dragon Fang, they think there's a rat because some cops busted their drug factory. So they go to Ken's house and they're like, because Ken was the rat. So they kidnap him. And then the twins call Saint and Shin and they're like, hey, Ken got kidnapped. And so they come and they bust their way through the gang and they like, fight their way through. And they're beating people up to get Ken. And then, Mr. Soon came. He's literally murdering people. Like, he picks up, like, a metal crowbar. He's, like, fucking, like, taking heads off. Like, he shows up. He's got a body count now.
His kids, so
yeah.
it's okay.
They mess with his kids, so he's decapitating people. Which is, like, a really exciting finale. And Shin takes down Jang. Just kidding. Jang's okay. He has a knife. He goes up. He stabs Shin. Except he tried to stab Saint. He stabbed Saint. But Shin steps in front of the blade. Takes the blade for Saint. Again.
Of course.
Of course. But it's okay because the police come. Shin lives. Like, it's never a question whether he would live or die because everyone's indestructible in the show. And then Chadjen leaves for London.
I was sad he actually left. I was hoping we would come around.
Yeah, I was thinking he would stay, but
yeah
he actually does leave. So maybe for the best, though. He is way better than the rest of them and he really has no business being involved in this gang stuff. So
truly.
Yeah. So Jan and Soong, they become like permanent homeroom teachers. They're like, we'll be your teachers the next year. And everyone lives happily ever after.
As friends.
As friends. Yeah. Exactly. Everyone's just friends or classmates. And that's it.
Crazy.
And yeah. That's the end. Yay. That's
Yay.
I'm glad you liked it, honestly. Like, I feel like I'm definitely in the minority. I completely understand that. I know most people love this show, so.
Yeah. I think all of GMM ships, like, Sky Nani. So.
Yeah. I'm okay being in the minority because I just, I can't force myself to like this show, but.
Yeah. And I mean, I think your complaints are valid, right? For the most part. There's a couple where I was like, no.
Yeah. And I understand why people like this show. It's just, yeah. I was underwhelmed, personally, but.
I could not watch this fast enough.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly disappointed I didn't like it. I really wanted to like it so bad. It didn't connect.
It's okay. It'll happen.
Yeah.
We've been pretty on the same page with everything until this point, so I like that the bromance is where we split.
I know, right? And it wasn't even the fact that it was a bromance. It was just their relationship, the plot, and the show itself. Yeah, it just didn't jive with me. But it is exciting that we disagreed on a show for the first time.
Right?
Yeah.
Need to figure out what other shows we disagree on and watch them.
I know. Yeah, we'll have to see. Normally we have pretty similar opinions about most things, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I've watched recently that I like that I don't think you would like, but
yeah,
I really can't think of anything.
I think maybe the only other one is like Kin Porsche, which we haven't really discussed yet.
Yeah. Did you not like Kin Porsche?
I didn't love it. I mean, I liked it. It was kind of something where like, yeah, I liked it. Would I ever watch it again? No.
Oh.
But
I've watched it twice for fun.
Yeah. I mean, I would watch it again for like the podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have complicated feelings.
Yeah, I mean, the plot is all over the place.
That's the thing. It's
I
kind of like plot who,
Yeah, no, the
but
plot is all over the place.
yeah.
There's like characters and character relationships that I love. Like I love Vegas. Vegas is a great character. Like he's a terrible person as a character, right?
Uh-huh.
But I love his character. And then like the bromance that happens between him and Porsche, like
Mm,
I ship them.
Vegas Porsche, yeah.
So, like I'm here for that.
That's the thing. I don't love Kin and Porsche together either, but
They don't make sense to me. It just kind of like
no.
happened out of nowhere. Like I'm
Yeah.
here for it. It's fine. Like Mile Apo, great, whatever.
Uh-huh. So maybe
But
we
yeah,
do agree on that.
yeah. I think I still in the end probably like it a lot more than you do because I still
Uh-huh.
like I'll say there's certain scenes I go back to more than just the show as a whole,
Uh-huh.
which is yeah. But
Yeah.
I've definitely rewatched the show just for fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well,
so I
maybe
will say if you
yeah.
don't like Between Us,
Mm.
I'm gonna have a hard time.
Oh my God. I'm scared now.
N-
I'll
I don't
probably like it, I think.
because that's Between Us is my comfort show.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those I'm like anything else I'm like it's fine if we don't agree. That one I'm
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be your comfort show, but if you just hate it, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rethink the podcast.
Oh
No, I'm
God.
not that
Okay.
dramatic. It's not that bad. Um,
That's like me with the Untamed. I'm just kidding. I understand that one's very different. So if you don't like that, it's fine.
it,
But
it's
it
not that I
is
don't like it. I
my
just don't have
favorite.
the attention span for it.
Yeah, it's long, long.
Yeah, because that's like even before I got into BL, when I was watching like Chinese like dramas, I had such a hard time with the ones that are like 50 long. Because I'll get to like episode like 30, and I'm like, okay, I'm tired.
Oh no, but that's when the Untamed. Once you get to episode 30, that's like you're in that you're gonna watch episode 30 to 50 in like a day and a half.
Okay, what do you
But
mean I have to watch 30 hours to get
I'm
into
just
it?
kidding. No, no, no. It's not like I would
Yeah.
say the first like 10 to 15 episodes you'll probably be like, who are these people?
Yeah, I think that was probably why I got stuck because I got to through episode 8 when I first started
Mm,
watching it, and because of the fashion and the hair and stuff, it's very difficult for me to tell who's who on some of them.
yeah. That's why I'm
So,
like watching it with a friend, which is great because if she's like, who's that? I can just be like, that's this person. So, but
yeah.
yeah.
So, I will get around to watching it.
Yeah.
I just probably gonna be this summer.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, this show was interesting.
You don't have to be nice. You could say you didn't like it.
I didn't like. I mean, I think I gave it like I think give it like a 7 or 7.5.
I mean, that's still not
Like
bad. It
it
has
wasn't
an
bad.
8.9 on MDL.
Yeah. No, I didn't think it was bad. I was just like I think I was disappointed more than anything. Cuz I heard from everyone it
Sorry
was
for
so
overhyping
good.
it.
No, it's okay. Hey, it is what it is. And now I want to rewatch School 2013 and see how it
Yeah,
compares in my opinion. So, I might do that
yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I'm curious about that too. So,
Yeah. So, I love Kim Woo Bin, so I'm always happy to see
yeah,
him again.
I love him too.
Yeah.
So,
So
well,
yeah.
okay. This was a long episode, guys.
Yeah, goddamn. I try to condense as much as I could, but hey, it's 16 episodes, so
Yeah. Hey, we got it all in one episode. That's
yeah.
good for us.
Let's go. That is good for us.
Yeah. So, well, tell us what you thought about it. On Spotify, we have the comment section, but also you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at bl.in.the.air. Forgot what words were for a second there.
Hmm.
You can also find us on Twitter at BL in the air. Discord, easiest is through the link in the link tree. And we are streaming video on Spotify and YouTube as usual, and streaming audio everywhere else and on Spotify.
Hmm.
So catch us there. Give us a rating if you feel like on Spotify. That'd be great for us. Um, and yeah, come say hey.
Yes, we love to chat.
Yep. Catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.